Please don't forget the money, babe.
I love America, but she's so dangerous, dangerous. I love America, but she's so dangerous. Somebody call her Superman, Iron Man of kryptonite. The rules say it's child time, well we about to eat tonight. What happened on Epstein Island, did it really take it life? I'm deeper than the ocean floor and higher than a satellite. Yes, I am an alchemist, I murder rubber skin. But with no religion, it's the return of the ancient Egyptians. West Coast, California, my family is Riverside. In the Empire, none of ain't a lullaby. This is where the gods dwell and a lot of mothers cry. You can feel the thunder cry. Choctaw Nation, future chief on the rise. From a different dimension, Star Trek Enterprise. I love America, but she's so dangerous, dangerous. I love America, but she's so dangerous, dangerous. Authentic jewels around my neck, dripping like King Tut. Pop locking on the pyramids, Scotty beat me up. I'm manifested as a god, I in my hieroglyph. Yes, I am so cold, I can swim in a lava pit. My father who art in heaven, returning in the mothership. Dropping missiles and bombs, sinking the devil's battleship. Roswell crashes, UFO flying saucers. I'm the rap Captain EO, call me the Sunwalker. I'm the rap Captain EO, call me the Sunwalker. I love America, but she's so dangerous, dangerous. I love America, but she's so dangerous. Rocking with Jason Elm Street. Peace to the God. Peace to the galaxy. I love America, but she's so dangerous.
All aboard! It is time to hop aboard my spaceship, cause you are now tuned into what is the Matrix TV. I'm your host, Quetzalcoatl, Jason Elm Street Williams, master of the universe. I have a special guest tonight coming in from San Bernardino, California, the great Devin, the chosen one.
Yes, y'all. What's up, y'all? We on the Matrix, y'all. We on the Matrix. We on the Matrix, y'all. We on the Matrix. We on the Matrix, y'all. We on the Matrix. The Matrix University with your Professor James Elm Street. Yeah, reigning from the King of the Moors.
Peace to the gods.
Yeah.
So what's good, brother? We see that Donald Trump's director breaks it down and says that they're able to manipulate time and space. Have you been feeling any Mandela effects lately?
Yes,
Have you been seeing deja vu?
Yes.
What do you think's going on with these orbs then? Are they coming in from different dimensions? What is it? It says right here, scientists studying the UFO orb that landed in Colombia claim it is alien. What do you think?
It is because the thing is that our ancestors had so much highly advanced technology. We had already colonized the different planets throughout the cosmos. We are here because our ancestors, basically we have a higher technology. We're way more advanced. Our people have already cracked time travel. They're just coming back to free us from this captivity that you guys still want to hold on to us. When we already told you all you had was 400 years and it's time for you guys to let us go. But now, because you guys aren't letting us go, we're going to just take it. We're going to take it. So the technology that you're looking at is our technology. Those are our written codes and our DNA. It's showing us who we are. We naturally know what this does because this resonates with the writing that's within our DNA. Our people understood the web of life and how life works, how energy works. You know what I'm saying? So, oh, look at that. Look at that.
And I wanted to show you guys this. I just got back from Mexico, y'all. And this
Wow.
is Quetzalcoatl right here, y'all.
Wow. I have to take
And
that
you
off.
see, that's the plum serpent. That represents us. Us as the indigenous original people of the land, the Kundalini energy, the serpent people. We are the reptiles. Scratch your skin and see how ashy you get. Those are your scales. That's why they dehydrate us in the inner cities and put liquor in our neighborhoods to dehydrate us. This is why we set up civilization next to water the majority of the time, rivers. But Quetzalcoatl represents us, the serpent people. We are that. We are the Aztecs. And so when I was in Mexico, Devin, I was asking about the Olmecs. And the brother said, "Do you mean Olmeca?" And it hit me. I said, Olmeca is old Mecca.
Oof.
You get it?
Yes.
Because this is the old world. So I was saying Olmec.
Right.
Olmec. And he was like, Olmec. He said, Olmeca? And I hadn't said that. So I was like, Olmeca. He said, Olmeca. You know about Olmeca? And he's saying Olmeca, and I'm hearing old Mecca.
Mecca.
And he said, you've been here. And he asked me a question. And I said, I'm Quetzalcoatl. He went and showed me this. I ended up getting it.
Oh, look at the nose.
I started breaking down the symbols, the sacred geometry.
Ooh, I can feel it in
the
my
corn maze.
Bro.
You see the X? That's the down south Confederate flag symbol y'all see that they took. And you see the nose, right? You see the lips. You see they have these items hidden in the Mexican stores behind the other stuff. He was just checking to see if I knew my history. They were so excited, Devin. My Mexican brothers in Mexico were so excited to say, you know who you are. He knows, Quetzalcoatl.
Right.
But they said it. Because each of us are Quetzalcoatl when you know who you are, and because we're the gods that bring riches and wealth wherever we go. This is our passport. Our passport was our skin tone to free roam on the planet. And so when we went around the humans, since our melanin, we naturally vibrate a different frequency, but also the knowledge, we teach them about agriculture, teach them how to dance, teach them about all different sciences they don't know. We introduce humans to a new reality. So look, you see the sun, but also you become a Venus, like Lord Pakal, to become a star again. But in order to, because this world is the dream world. This world is the world that prepares you to live, because we never die. So this avatar suit is simply a test. It's a test to see, let's say your skill set, how many coins you're gonna collect. So clearly me and Devin, we did something correct in our past life to come back as melanated beings, right? Yes. So it's the same thing in a video game. You collect coins off of the righteous things you do and all the award things you do. That's what you can take with you to the other side. So when the troglodytes say you can't take it, that's because they're trapped in this dimension. The humans can only go as far as we teach them or what they see, because it's not in them.
That's why they follow everything that we do.
They follow us, and this is why they call us soul people. They don't call anybody else soul people, because the others have a spirit, but they don't have a soul. The only way for them to gain a soul is through bowing down and studying us in our essence, to learn about our true nature of mathematics, science, the way we love, the way we cook. Without us, they would not have their arts. They wouldn't have their foods the way they are today. Right. So this right here, also, if you look, you see the astronaut helmet.
Yes.
You
Wow.
can see the brother in the yoga pose with the
Yep.
fez on,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Clearly.
you see the pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
And then I could get more in detail, but basically, when you go outside of America, these are the monuments, and really, it's America, Mexico, our neighbor. So right here, you see monuments and statues and edifices and artifacts of us as indigenous people here in California, Mexico. So everyone, we've been to Kemet in Egypt, but now we're traveling to Mexico, the Yucatan Peninsula, Yakub's Peninsula, the big-headed scientist peninsula. Brother, did you freeze on us? I think you froze. So, so right here, once again, you see a calendar and you see glyphs all throughout here. And we're going to talk about that on this episode and much more. So look. And so you could judge a culture by their artifacts. So once again, let's get right here. As Trump, the science director, claims that the U.S. can manipulate time and space, what do you guys think about that? What type of technology are they using with HARP to bring in these UFOs? I'm calling Devin back. Excuse me, y'all. It looked like they dropped him. Here he goes. Oh, this brother Chad right here. What's good, brother Chad? How you doing? We just started the episode.
All right, all right. How we doing, brothers and ladies and gentlemen? We
Doing good,
rocking.
brother.
We
So
rocking.
we just started it off. I was showing them with the Olmeca. I was in Mexico, and it was just amazing to see how our Mexican brothers were so hyped that I knew who I was. When I said I'm Quetzalcoatl, and he was talking about Olmeca, he said, "You know who you are," and that's when he ran and got this. It was behind all the other artifacts, and he said, "It's for you. It's been waiting for you." So, Devin, this is brother Chad. Are you there, Devin? I paused again. He keeps pausing. So what do you feel right now? What's going on? I don't know if you can see the picture.
Yeah.
Did you see the UFO orb that landed in Colombia?
I did.
And what do you feel about that? Because Trump's director just announced that they can manipulate time and space. And we're seeing the Diddy trial. Clearly, that's a distraction. They just confirmed that they found an alien spacecraft. It might not be as big as we thought, but nonetheless, it's an alien orb. What do you think, Chad?
I mean, I think it's groundbreaking, right? I think it's groundbreaking. It's something that they're trying to keep away from us. Obviously, they keep the Diddy trial. They keep the Tory Lane shooting. They keep the small symbolizations in front of us that mean anything, nothing, right? And the big stuff, like you're saying, like alien, they're trying to mask it. They've always tried to mask it, but I think now it's even with I think they have the Space Federation or whatever they have now. They have groups
Yes, the
that they've
Space
opened up.
Force.
Correct, Space Force. There we go. I mean, it's out there to see, clear as day, and it's something. It's a reason why they're hiding it. I think they have communication with them, and they've damn near formed a deal with them, in my opinion.
They
Right.
do. I
So
agree.
it's huge though. Like I said, it's something they're hiding from us. Um, my big thing is I was thinking the other day, I was like, I'm damn near ready to go sit in jail to go see what's in that damn Grand Canyon. I'm damn near
Mm,
ready to go sit in jail to find out what's in the Grand Canyon. It's just too
mm,
many secrets they're not letting us know, right? That are about us, that relay back to us, right? That has something to
right.
do with us, our energy,
Yes.
our people. So
Yes.
it's a big old secret.
and and I love how you said that. People might laugh at that, but that's interesting. The brother just said he's willing to risk jail time to get knowledge and
I
information.
want to know. I
Isn't
want to
that
know
a
that
scary
at this
truth?
point.
Yeah, because that my for those watching, my father just passed, right? So I'm just like, man, there's no way in the world that I'm gonna waste my life worried about other people calling me crazy for wanting to know who I am. My pop talked to me on the other side, and he said, keep going, son. You're correct. Don't stop. Because what it is that our brothers and sisters are dying, even though there's no such thing as dying. But when you so-called die, if you don't have enough information of yourself, how do you expect to get to the heavenly realms? Our people are dying knowing more about Kobe Bryant and the Lakers, the Raiders, knowing more about bullshit, knowing more about the Bible, knowing more about nothing that you can take to the other side. So when the troglodyte monkey who's stuck in this dimension says that you can't take anything he doesn't know, is he don't go where you go. He's not from here. He isn't soul people. They don't call pale skin Europeans soul people. We are the soul people. We're the people of the sun because we're the only people who have a soul.
The only humans on Earth.
They don't want to tell you that because we're connected to the extraterrestrials and the crafts that they know have higher intelligence than them. That's what they fear. They don't fear black men who gangbang. They don't fear people who believe in Jesus and God. That doesn't scare them. What scares them the most? An intelligent brother.
Oh yeah. You see what the CIA did to the Black Panthers. The first thing they did when we started getting smart, they could not take. You could be the ghettoist.
Why do they keep shutting this down? You guys notice how all the guests keep getting removed tonight, y'all? And it's not my computer. Are you there, Chad? Wow. Let me call even Devin again.
My back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You there?
You're in the show. Everyone can hear you. You can hear me. Put your hand up. Okay, I can't hear you though.
Oh wow, are you serious?
I'm gonna leave out and leave in.
Okay. What'd you say? Okay, I'm back. I'm gonna log in right now. Okay. I'm gonna go run and get this. All right, here we go. You there?
Yeah.
All right. So you see how they're playing with our episode already, y'all. Every time we get on this information, things will start glitching. You know how it goes. But what the chat was explaining, there was a time when we did have organizations like the Black Panthers. The reason why schools have lunch programs to this very day and breakfast school programs, that's from the Black Panthers, y'all. So every time your kids or anyone eats a meal at school, that's from the Black Panthers. Right there. And the Panthers, the Jaguars come up out of America. So we are those people. Once again, the Jaguar people, like the Mayas, you know. But go ahead.
That and what I get out of that is even and obviously they did phenomenal things, right? Really did. Until like you're saying, all that is valid. But what I got out of that is they declared them as the number one threat of the United States at one point.
Yes.
You got to think about that. That's when you use knowledge and you, like you said, you're not being ghetto. You're not all these people being ghetto, shooting all that. Why? They're not number one threats because you're not a threat. They like you like that. You see what I'm saying? You have to see where they made you a threat. They made you a threat is when you started to organize and feed lunches and said, hey, we're going to cook the food and grow the vegetation and do. When you start to get into this, now that's a problem, right? So, do for self and it's an issue.
Devin's back on. What's good,
Yes,
Devin?
yes.
I
Oh
see the
man,
man's trying to
everything.
knock you down, trying to knock you out.
Oh yeah. Oh man, they don't certain things they don't want to be said, but you can't stop what the plan is, what we've already
So
planned, because we are
we're
the.
still on the orbs right now. So we're talking about the people driving these UFOs and crafts are our ancestors, and that's what they fear, that we come from a higher power, a higher intelligence, and that we're different than the so-called humans. They want us to
Yeah.
think that we're humans, but we're
Mm.
extraterrestrials. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why I say the Mers, the Martians. We are the Martians who came
Mm-hmm.
down to Earth and gave the humans knowledge. And that's
Mm-hmm.
why the gods of antiquity, the gods of corn, the gods of maize, the gods of rain, the gods of everything, the gods of music, art, all look like us.
Uh-huh.
And then they worship our mothers
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
because we're the true concept isn't father and son, it's mother and
Mother.
child,
Mm-hmm.
our moms. So basically they're getting at our moms right now. That's why you see so-called our sisters really out of it. And that's why we
Right.
have to build these brotherhoods, because once the brothers come together, the sisters are going to see, and then we're going to have
Right.
to protect them, because the true Messiah is the woman who she
Mm-hmm.
has all the knowledge. When she gets correct, it's over,
Mm-hmm.
because when the so-called Moorish woman activates her beehive and wants us to be God again, it happens. When enough
Wow.
sisters say spaceships are real, UFOs are real, when enough sisters say Jason, Chad, Devin, what they're saying is real, and enough sisters say it's real, it becomes reality. Just like you see ghetto girls now, right? Excuse
Mm-hmm.
me, y'all, got my wisdom tooth pulled today. But when you see how so-called black women act today, that should
Yes.
let you know how quick it can change. So if the majority of sisters are talking about UFOs, aliens, the black man being God, well, what's next? What's
Mm-hmm.
next? It happens because they don't want us to use our imagination. Once we understand who we are, we can imagine. So now that we learned that we're the Moors, right? Now
Mm-hmm.
that we learned we're the Egyptians, now that we learned we're the Indians, the Olmecs, the original Asians, everything, now
Everything.
we can attach to
The
that. We
Israelites.
don't have to attach to being a gangbanger, a
Mm-hmm.
Christian,
Mm-hmm.
a worker.
Hawaiian.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
none of that. I can attach myself to all these things: a scientist, an architect, a god. And what is a god? Meaning I introduce new realities. I bring worth to
Mm-hmm.
wherever I go. People can observe my actions and teachings to better their life.
Right.
Factual evidence. And then that means that I come from a greater source, like my father. They come from a whole generation. My dad was drafted in Vietnam, homie.
Mm.
Mm.
Can you imagine that type of brother to get drafted at 18 years old, and then only 2 weeks of training, and then you're shipped out to go handle? Man, that's a whole different type of breed.
You know the
And then
Vi- the
go ahead.
the Vietnamese, but even back in those days, man, the Vietnamese would open up the dead soldiers' brains and it would take out their pineal glands. And
Mm,
compared to all of the other races of people, ours is way bigger.
Mm.
wow.
They
Wow.
discovered that.
Well, when they're in Vietnam, they would tell some of the soldiers, "This is the white man's world. Go
Yes,
home, black man. What are you doing?"
they weren't
You
even
know,
shooting at us.
yeah, uh, they would eventually have to shoot at the brothers, but they would try not to. They would, if you learn, they would try to kill the white boys, and they would say that the so-called white boys were trying to kill the brothers. My dad was like, "Man, can you imagine?" He said during that time the army was segregated, so he
Right,
said you got the white boys and black dudes. They telling them to fight each other. He said you
right,
guys are over here fighting each other, then they're telling you to go out in the jungle and do it.
right.
He said it was crazy. He said
That's
it was
They
why
were saying that
wild.
they were throwing the brothers and they were trying to grab the brothers and throw them in front of
Yep.
the bullets and stuff. And they were shooting
Yeah.
out, they were throwing all that kind of weird ass shit.
That's
Yeah.
why
Woo.
Muhammad Ali told him to go fuck themselves.
Mm,
He said,
Right.
I'm not
we
fight.
lost.
I'm not beefing with no Chinese man. They don't beef with me. That's y'all white man fight. It's y'all war. Y'all go
Mm-hmm.
fight y'all war. Love that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
And that's what happened. So, and then speaking of Ali, Ali, Cassius Clay, he became greater. And who is he connected to? Who is his master teacher?
Mm.
Elijah, who went up in
Elijah
the
Muhammad.
whirlwind,
Muhammad,
right?
God.
And Elijah Muhammad looks like a gray.
Unbelievable.
He looks like that alien right there in this picture that
Mm.
y'all see.
Yeah.
Elijah Muhammad, I always say, was an alien. To me,
Mm-hmm.
he was an
He was a,
extraterrestrial. And
he said the
he
earth
didn't talk
weighs
like a brother.
6 sextillion tons.
Mm. So you're talking about a brother in the 1920s, y'all, that
Mm-hmm.
drew the design. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? He drew what we're seeing today. These are what we call the baby planes, y'all. These
Right.
are the scanners that scan and record everything, can go under the water, go under different caves in all different environments and scan the environment, record everything, and send it back to the mothership. And so
Wow.
here, this is what you guys see in the sky. Right here, those orbs that y'all see, those are those
Mm-hmm.
silver orbs flying. And they
Mm-hmm.
also come out of the craft, the motherships. So
Mm-hmm.
eventually, those are going to be the bombs that drop
Mm-hmm.
once we get taken up. Let me show y'all a picture. They're called Great Balls of Fire. Where is that picture? There, right here. Stone spheres found in Costa Rica. Costa Rica's best kept secret, the mysterious stone spheres of Costa Rica. Mexico's great stone spheres. So we have all of these stones all throughout the Americas and in the land, but people want to know, what are they for? What they're going to do is like they other people say this as well, like Dr. Malachi Z. York as well. And this is actually, to speak of it, his book, where he has a book called Great Balls of Fire Cast at the Earth. So even when Dr. York speaks of it, to me, it's true. But
Mm-hmm.
right here, you see these perfectly Fibonacci sequence balls. And those
Mm-hmm.
are the balls that they use to what they call change the earth. I forgot the actual term, but not just destroying the earth, but terraforming. So,
Mm-hmm.
so when you drop those great balls of fire in the waters and on the ground, it creates different life forms. It can separate land and it can destroy life. This is what they did also to destroy the last world, the old world. So they're going to be
Mm-hmm.
sucked up into the mother craft, and once some of us are taken, those are the great balls of fire that are going to be casted down to earth to
Mm-hmm.
set the earth on fire and destroy their world, bro. And that's
Mm-hmm.
why it's imperative for us to start getting and knowing ourselves, because that's what Chad was basically saying. And I was teaching is that it's time for us to learn who we are. It's not
Mm-hmm.
time to learn about the Laker game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what else is there to learn? We have to
Mm-hmm.
learn about ourselves and then the
Mm-hmm.
story of ourselves and why. And so that meant that people were taken away. If we know that they destroyed the planet already, where did the others go? They left in crafts. They went into the earth. Some of them
Mm-hmm.
ascended. Some of them went through stargates. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you feel about that, Devin? When
Mm-hmm.
it
I
comes
totally
to
agree.
the world being destroyed before
Mm-hmm.
advanced civilizations being here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it was a reset. You know, when we got destroyed before, um, uh, when we got destroyed before, we lost all the technology, the history, but we didn't lose it. They just took off and left, and they were going to come back at a certain time. So when they take off and they leave, let's just say they go to one planet to the next, that could be the equivalent of 400 years our time has already went by. So all they're doing is doing a turnaround trip. They left, took off, came back 400 years later, but never really been gone because they've always been checking us out, watching over us. I'm going to tell you a dream that I had when I was a kid. It wasn't a dream, man. I was in a sedated state. So I was being pulled up. I felt my soul leaving my body, right? I felt the earthquake. It was a real earthquake, but it wasn't an earthquake like people thought. It was an earthquake where the mothership came and abducted me, took my soul, and I was approached by three beings of light: father, mother, and brother, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I started talking to them, and they were telling me specifically, um, "Are you ready? Come on, just come home." I was like 16 at the time. Just come home, come home. I was like, no, 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 no. I want to help these human beings out. You're like, why do you want to help these people out, man? Why do you care to even help them? Nah, because there's a love I got for them, man. Like, I want to help them. So I came back. They sent me back. All right, cool. Sent me back to Earth. And ever since then, I've always known things that I just didn't understand that I knew how I knew it, but I just knew it because I have access to our previous records, like a lot of the star seeds, us that's here, who happen to be us, the chosen ones. You know what I'm saying? Our people, our bloodline, our lineage. That's a remnant within the remnant of the people. Some of these people are going to get taken out along with the destruction or what's coming.
Well, you just explained Flight of the Navigator, brother. And we were speaking earlier. You said you hadn't seen this movie yet, right?
Whoa.
It talks about situations like yours, because it was the same for me, how I felt. Basically, Flight of the Navigator is a Disney film, y'all. And basically, the brother, he goes to sleep, or he gets knocked out in the forest and gets abducted. And he comes back and they drop him off in the forest again. But time has gone by 8 years later. So they capture the boy and they take him from his family and they start scanning his brain. You see the picture to the right, y'all? They put those the same exact headgear we're going to show you. They connect his brain to the computer, and NASA starts flipping out because they start saying that the boy is showing them hieroglyphs and star maps, like you said. So when he was in the craft, he downloaded StarCrafts in his brain. And when he was able to get in the craft, he could fly the craft through his mind. And like we were saying earlier, these spacecrafts that they're hiding from some of us, we are able to activate just by coming around.
By our DNA.
This is why they put them in these bases. This is why they put them far away. Just like in Black Panther Part 2 with Killmonger. He activated it through his DNA, if you remember. So right there. So these spacecrafts, if you even look closer, if we can get in, you could see to the right, you could see the hieroglyphs. And then the back is like a pharaoh. And then look at the seat, y'all. Look at how it looks and resembles a pharaoh seat. So when we see the pharaohs and chiefs and certain royalty in certain seats, what if these seats were like advanced type of technology to where you could sit in the seat, put your palm in, and receive information downloads from the universe, just like they're doing today with these right here.
It's
with
copper.
These headsets. So just like in Ghostbusters, I am the key master. The enlightened are coming. I must find the gatekeeper. That's us. We are the gatekeepers and the key masters. We got to open these portals first in our mind. And so once again, Back to the Future, Doc had created a brain analyzer to get information from the ether. So they're already showing you that there were scientists and people back in the day and currently who can build natural machines to receive information. So what they're doing now with Elon Musk and the Neuralink is that people are going to be able to connect their brains to the computers. But the difference is that mankind has built these computers. These aren't the higher realm type of entities building these that people are going to plug into. So this is what we're dealing with. So when we see the ancients with these helmets, these are actually devices, y'all. So when you see this sister, when you see that blue thing, that's like a power button. That's like a power button they can press, and it activates that machine, and they're able to tap into the mothership in different galaxies and different crafts and be sent information. And so that you're able to with all that information, you hold it and it'll go through the so you don't spontaneous combust. And the
Yes.
python and the serpent is showing you the kundalini energy that she's holding, because we use the as a key to go through certain stargates and wormholes. So we will wear these edifices. So when you see the sister with
See
the
what we
gold,
wear.
there you go. It's an electrical conductor. So when the
Mm-hmm.
troglodytes started going through the Stargate, they had to put on certain oils. They had to put on certain suits because they don't have enough neuromelanin to go through the Stargate. So
Right.
right here, you guys see a
It's a
sun.
program.
Go ahead.
And we
So
are the program that accesses the portals. They can't
yeah,
access them.
correct.
They can't.
And so here you see even the statues, some of them destroyed to the right, but you see like this one to the left looks like Rihanna. And that's a
Yeah.
machine, y'all. So to us, we
Mm-hmm.
think it's jewelry, but imagine that thing in the middle spinning. Imagine those cobras that also represent high science, but imagine that some type of a machine that can pick up radio waves. So just like you
Mm-hmm.
turn in the Power 106, 99.1 or Kiss FM,
Mm-hmm.
you were able to dial in the radio station. That's why they have satellites. And their
Mm-hmm.
satellite program in NASA is called SETI,
Mm-hmm.
SETI. And SETI is the name of a pharaoh in Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Mm.
so that means that they're trying to contact these entities in worlds that we live on, because so-called planet Earth is not the only planet or dimension with intelligent life. And so
Mm-hmm.
this is what they're tapping into, the higher elites, and they use certain tactics like blood sacrificing,
Mm-hmm.
manipulation to tap into these lower forces,
Mm-hmm.
because even though they're able to tap into our ancestors and orishas, once we begin to tap into our ancestors, we're going to unleash a power that this current world hasn't seen, which we call superheroes and mutants. And that's what we
Mm-hmm.
are, y'all. We are superheroes waiting to
Mm-hmm.
activate our DNA. And we had these
Mm-hmm.
different machines that we used while we were trapped here. This is an
Mm-hmm.
artist from the
The thing
Bay
is
of
with the
California.
radiation right now, especially the summertime.
Mhm.
So with the summertime coming, especially for us, man, it's really good for us to really go outside and really get in that sun, man. Conduct yourself with some copper. Put some copper on your arms. Become that conductor, so the flow of the energy from the earth to the sun to the body, it all flows through. So you're taking in downloads. You're enhancing your DNA, because this is going to be one of the hottest summers, and with it being so hot, all it's going to do is just activate us. You know what I'm saying? It's going to activate the DNA that's dormant. We got to get outside, man, and really like take our shoes off, put our feet in the dirt, put our hands on the trees, and start reconnecting with the trees and start claiming back the land. That's the only way that we're going to be able to access it. First, we got to understand that we're one with America. These are our lands: America, Mexico, Canada, Brazil, all of that, the islands, the Caribbeans. So, in order to first gain that type of power, we have to freaking ground ourselves. So, my thing is I want to encourage everybody to do that. And then we got to come together as one people, man, and realize, look, man, there's their history and this is our history, and we need to start working together. Anybody that's good at science needs to connect with other dudes that's really good at science, so we can begin to understand the power and the things that our ancestors left behind that we can access genetically. You know what I'm saying? So, like he was saying, with the Olmecs, we were able to, you know, touch the guns. And just by us touching the guns, we would activate the lasers. So when the Europeans and the Spaniards would come, this is how we would fight them. You know what I'm saying? We would fight them with just weapons of our mind. We were that accurate. Okay, going back, Jason. I see you, man. I'm sorry. I'm just over here just talking.
No, I'm listening, brother. And so even Sun Ra, y'all, he this is an artist from the bed that I found out about like in 2004. And once again, you see the sun disk. So you
Mm-hmm.
see that crystal, we're able to get that ether. So imagine the ancient technology when that's activated, the information that was coming to us as originals on this planet.
Mm-hmm. The
And right
stone.
here, you see the troglodyte copying us, but it's showing you
Mm-hmm.
once again that that's technology, y'all. That's a machine. So I'm assuming that the different crystals, whether it's amethyst or jade, you're able to contact different entities or get certain information. Each
Mm-hmm.
crystal, each crystal holds a different key,
Mm-hmm.
right? It holds different information. And so
Mm-hmm.
once we're able to tap into that, the unlimited source and unlimited wealth and knowledge is what we need. And that's why I say we need our own land. We need our own, they say reservations, but we need our own land so we can create our own technology again, to
Mm-hmm.
open these stargates, to live in peace again. So go ahead,
Mm-hmm.
brother, I'm listening.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I
I'm gonna
agree.
put on this picture
You
for
have
you
all the
too.
different. You have the seven. You have. It's more than seven stones, of course, but seven just being basic, like seven notes on the scale, the seven different colors. We tap into the color that each vibration gives off is the key to tapping into these different levels. It's through the sound vibration. We can manipulate the sound. We can manipulate the vibration, and that is depending on how high or how low the octave is. You know, there was there are notes that were taken off of the scale intentionally because it moved objects, like the eighth note. That's the infinity note, no beginning, no end. That can hit levels beyond um we things that we can conceive. This is how the Egyptians used to move stuff, move bricks and move objects, as it was just through sound, through vibration. But they had the key to the ether. You know what I'm saying? They knew how to manipulate the sound, you know, basically with their voice. You know, they were that in tune to things, and the white man couldn't really understand it. So, how did we make them? How did we weaken them? We put this in their books, their religions, saying, "Oh, it's bad to practice magic." You know what I'm saying? They outlawed that. They made that illegal. And then on the flip side, they would turn around and do magic. They would burn sage in their Catholic churches, and they would use the same things that they told us not to use against us. And this is how they destroyed our people and took us down. So it's time for us to reclaim our black magic. Not necessarily black magic, because you don't want to say black, because in a sense, black is a curse. You know what I'm saying? Our magic, you know what I'm saying? Our power. So we just have to, reconnect to all of that. The herbs, how we drink, what we eat, you know what I'm saying? What we smell, the sounds that we have in our environment. All that
Mm,
stuff matters, man. Like, we gotta surround ourselves with that. This is the first key to finding out your higher power. Your power is you have to literally tap within. You have to isolate yourself, because once you isolate, that's when you elevate. So you got to study, you know what I'm saying? The more that you study who you are, by you knowing yourself, you know God. What you want to call God. Yahweh, Yahweh, Elohim, whatever name you choose to identify him as. That higher power is literally the avatar, which is the body.
mm. I love it, brother. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
And you were talking about the elements and nature. I just thought about put up this picture. Oh, over 2,000 years ago, the Mayan of Tikal engineered advanced water filtration system using volcanic minerals like zeolite and quartz. This innovation purified the drinking water centuries ahead of modern science. So once again, y'all, we have to stop thinking of the old world as primitive. I know in K through 12, they said that everyone was simply hunters and gatherers, and that pale skinned Europeans were the first to harness electricity. But when we study
This is what.
ourselves, we find culture. And when we
Mm-hmm.
study culture, we find evidence, even though it's hidden and broken and
Mm-hmm.
scattered. We find that we had and still do have advanced civilizations because that's within us. We just
Mm-hmm.
haven't had the opportunity in this society, in this current world, to practice who we are But that's coming online right now, y'all. That's
Mm,
the new cool. You becoming a god again. You becoming a
mhm,
superhero again. You being the dominant avatar on the planet. You were sent here to dominate. This is
mhm,
our planet. This is our dimension. We're still
mhm,
breathing. You know, this is a beautiful planet.
mhm,
When we look at it, we so basically when we look at these structures, y'all, even behind us, the radio towers, we were able to bring basically the planet's knowledge from Orion's belt down to Earth. And I feel that that's what they call heaven on Earth, is that when our ancestors were able to get the information from these different galaxies and bring them down to Earth and build pyramids that clearly resemble otherworldly civilizations. And these are clues that we left behind to wake up, because what they're doing is by poisoning the water, poisoning the food, they want us to so-called die before we wake up and realize that we're in a video game or a dream world or a matrix simulation. And so once we learn that, we can manipulate, and not even manipulate, have a reciprocal relationship with air. We can have a reciprocal relationship with Tahuti, the birds, you know, nature, the Netarus, bending space and time with our minds. Because when we enter a room, we change space and time when we come amongst the human. This is why they call it CPT, color people's time, is because we literally have a different so-called clock than them. We age different than them. We see literally different than them. So we have to stop categorizing ourselves as humans. We are different. And so when we look at these headpieces, they're once again technology. Yes, they represented upper, lower in Egypt, but clearly the higher you came in degrees of information, the more you were deserving of certain devices. So when you look in the middle right here, you see a device. You see that copper rod and you see it bent. Yes, it represents the B, but you also see the Fibonacci sequence. And so with
yes,
that, they were able to, it's an antenna. Once again, contact entities are different dimensions. And this is why, once again, when you study Hollywood and different cults, they're trying to resurrect these our ancestors. This is why they go into the sarcophagus and take out the DNA. Brother Devin was talking about a mummy they just found that I'll bring up when he's talking. And so these mummies were perfectly preserved, but once they open the sarcophagus and the air touches it, it goes old. So this means that if they kept these mummies perfectly preserved, it meant that there was a way to resurrect our ancestors. Can you imagine the information that we could receive? But they also left DNA. This is why they pulled out the brain, they pulled out the heart and organs and put them in jars of honey to preserve. But what their scientists are doing is they're cloning these people. They're cloning Akhenaten, they're cloning Osiris, they're cloning Nefertiti, and all these different pharaohs, Pakal, all these leaders. This is why we have to be careful with our organs. Get your ancestors a lot cremated, because you know that a lot of these extraterrestrials and humans eat meat, just like certain entities and gods of the Bible ask for blood sacrifices, constantly ask for fresh meat to be splattered on the altars. This is why people go missing all throughout certain countries, and particularly America. And you learn about the underground tunnels. That's another story. But once again, with these headdresses, just like in the middle, imagine putting on a big mask like this. So I'm able, uh, I start thinking different when I put on this jade mask right here, right? I start getting uh, downloads. Why? Because you see the same geometry right here. You see it. So let me put it next to a picture. So when you see these symbols, they activate just like sigils. When you see certain sigils or signs, it activates energy vortexes. So imagine this being on you with copper rods, and I have a headdress that connects to the ether, and I'm talking to my people. And then imagine going around the world with that. Then you learn about different priesthoods, to where people would be initiated. And imagine being on magic mushrooms or psychedelic, and someone's teaching you about the cosmos with this mask on. And so you would be tripping out,
Mm.
saying that this is a different deity. And that's a lot of the times where initiation took place. So these are what the masks
Mhm.
represent: deities, chiefs. So when we put these masks on, we get the information. You embody the mask, you embody the avatar, you embody our ancestors. This is why they hide us from these places. When you go off of the ports on these cruise ships, it's all indigenous people. It's all
Mhm.
dark skinned people. So
Mhm.
we are those people. We are ancestors. This is why they don't want the so-called uh, Indians getting along, or the Murs and Moors and the so-called Black and Mexicans getting along, because we're related. And the moment we discover that, we'll see that there's no need to fight. We were all trading. We were trading. That's why you can find cocaine in the Egyptian mummies. You can find corn hieroglyphs when you go to Kemet. You can see them holding corn, which comes from the Americas. So we
Mhm.
can see that there was already a trade network. And so imagine me going to Africa and having a baby. And so, and then going to Asia. This is why you see us everywhere as the gods, because when we created the humans, we left. We left the
Mhm.
planet, and then we came back to the planet. And that's why they always say we return. And here we are again, and there's going to be a pickup. And
Mhm.
so we're just preparing. So basically, imagine when we get our technology back. So basically, it's almost a test to see how great we are without this technology. How great are the gods when we strip them of everything? How great are the gods
The
when
greatest basketball players, the
right.
greatest boxers, the
But what
greatest
I'm saying,
inventors.
there you go. But how great are we when they strip us of everything and now you see us rising? That's the ultimate test. You know, it's
Wow.
almost like a weeding out process of the
Mhm.
guys to see who makes the next varsity team.
Mhm.
Compare it to playing for JV or freshman, but we think that making the NBA is the greatest, or NFL, or even doctorate. But no, there's a galactic graduation, y'all. And that's why
Mm.
they have us killing each other. And that's why they poison the air. They poison the food, because they want
Mhm.
so-called black men to die before they awaken and are able to teach. And then so they don't become elders, like 100-year-old healthy Moor, 100-year-old healthy black man
Oof.
who's able to teach his 40-year-old grandson or son in the elders. So now we're growing up with generations where so-called black men don't have elders. We're in a
Oof.
state of emergency right now, y'all. This is why we have to remember the time. Like Michael Jackson said in the video, he showed you through dance moves, you were able to disappear. Through certain minerals, you could spray on the ground and travel, not just disappear, but you can move different stones. Michael Jackson showed you that in the video. Remember the time, because that exists. It still exists. This is why it's important for us to start studying who we are, not about the Lakers, not about anything else. It's about studying what they have basically stolen from us, which is our identity, our
Mhm.
passport to travel the stars and use our magic, which is imagination, to
Mhm.
bring down the information from the ethers and create what they call Orion on Earth, heaven on Earth. That's
Mhm.
it. We can do that here. We can
Mhm.
create all that here. We can. They already have flying machines. What it's like next? What do you guys want to do? What's the next frontier?
Mhm. Us
And
being a transition back to our animal states, like how we can go from just being physical humans to turning into a jaguar, to
yes,
turning into a dolphin, to
yes,
transitioning to being able
yes.
to shift change and tap into that. That's what they were afraid of. That's what they had the hardest time conquering when they came to these lands.
You speaking of the dolphins, Google's AI is learning to talk dolphins. Why do
Hmm.
you think they're trying to learn the language of dolphins so bad, Devin?
Because dolphins are where it all begun. It was a seed. So the egg, when the egg came out, it hatched and it brought forth the human being, and it was delivered to the planet through the dolphins.
There you
Sounds
go.
crazy. People think it's crazy, but trust me, they are the leaders. Okay, who are the leaders of the ocean? The dolphins. Who are the leaders on the earth? The black man.
There you go.
So that's our relation.
What if dolphins aren't animals but an alien surveillance? Dolphins are the most intelligent animals. And it says you can now talk to dolphins in real time thanks to Google's latest technology. So right here, we see that they've militarized dolphins, y'all. There's a question that says, has Russia deployed dolphins in the Black Sea? So a military dolphin is a dolphin trained for military uses. They have been trained to rescue naval swimmers or to locate underwater mines. Military dolphins were used by the U.S. Navy during the First and Second Gulf Wars. Vice President J.D. Vance ridiculed for accidentally revealing explicit dolphin-based research history. So right here, we're seeing that the pale-skinned European has been trying. I remember, was it Timothy Leary was trying to give dolphins LSD. So anyone watching this, research how European scientists were trying to give LSD, and American scientists, but you know who I'm talking about, dolphins to teach them how to talk. So
Wow.
imagine that. But there was a show on back in the day called Sequest, y'all. I want y'all to type in the show Sequest, and in the show, the dolphin called Darwin, they had the technology already in the show, and Darwin could talk. So once again, the government already has communication devices to communicate and break the sound language to communicate with animals, which we are naturally able to do.
Without
And
the technology.
without the technology. And how do we know that? Also, we study Credo Mutwa. I want everyone watching this show to type in Credo Mutwa. This is who I studied also under, not personally. I went to also meet him in South Africa, but I wasn't able to meet him, but I was able to meet the Sangomas who studied under him. So when I was in South Africa, being initiated as long as I could by the Zulus. And this is where I also learned more about the dolphins and extraterrestrials. So the Zulu Credo Mutwa would teach that the dolphins are ancestors, and that the word Zulu means star people. So right there, the Zulus speak of us being star people. They taught me how these crafts came, and that when a certain Zulu queen came into the craft, she got abducted, and when she came out, she was pale. And after that, animals around that land were born pale, and that these beings lived in the caves. And so learn about the teachings of the Zulus and how they speak of pale-skinned extraterrestrials and green extraterrestrials who had sex with African people and had babies. So once again, we know that some of us have extraterrestrial DNA, some of us more than others. And so once again, we see that dolphin connection. So when they're underneath the ocean in the show Sequest, they find extraterrestrials, and that's where the extraterrestrials were and are. And so right here, I have a picture.
And that's why they canceled that show. Was that the?
Yeah. They canceled the show right after they started saying that the government found minerals underneath the ocean to harness technology and energy, and that's when the aliens intervened. And so anytime we start seeing dolphins wash up on shore, something's happening. Something's happening under the ocean, because we know that they're poisoning the waters. We have to start remembering that this is a water planet. Even in their Bible, it speaks of their God hovering over the faces of the water. So therefore, it's saying that it was water, mainly a water planet. So I question people, who was watching that God? Who was watching God under the waters, recording God hover over the waters?
It has
Who
to have
was
been.
watching God create Adam and Eve?
Mm-hmm.
Who was recording?
The Dolphins.
The dolphins and other beings under the waters.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone think of that again. Open your Bibles and ask. It says in the beginning. So once again, if that was a supreme being speaking, it would have said, I, God, or I, Yahweh, created this, or heavens. But instead it said in the beginning. So that means that something had already occurred. Something
Mm-hmm.
had already happened. So like I'm saying, Devin, I'm going to run.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't
Why?
done it yet.
Mm-hmm.
But you call me, Jason, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
I'm running. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
already in action. So
Mm-hmm.
when this particular deity or God says that he created a certain type of being, that meant that there were already intelligent beings on the planet, which are
Mm-hmm.
us, because we are
Mm-hmm.
the reptiles. We are the amphibious beings who can go on water and land. Some of us went and stayed in the
Mm-hmm.
waters. Some of us came onto the land. When they knocked
Mm-hmm.
also when they shot the great balls of fire, we were knocked on the land and eventually turned
Mm-hmm.
into what we call the twa or the pygmy, today called midget or
Mm-hmm.
little people. So
Mm-hmm.
we know that there's people called the littles. Go type in the smallest people in the world and you'll
The
see people
pygmy
this
people in
small.
Africa.
Yeah, there's people born this tiny. They have them in the
Wow.
circus to this day. So if there's
Mm-hmm.
people born this small, that means they come from people this small.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to look at intelligent life not just as gigantic, but like
Mm-hmm.
in that movie Dave. I think
Mm-hmm.
I even have that on here. If we could flip real quick to that.
Mm-hmm.
The
Because you got
movie
little people
Dave.
breeding. Mm-hmm.
The movie Dave, it was a small, tiny spacecraft. And
Mm.
also it represented the so-called black man, the Moor, the extraterrestrial, the Martian. He was a
Mm-hmm.
god, letting
Mm-hmm.
you know that you have different entities inside of you and
Mm-hmm.
you're a circuit board. Look at that circuit board. So
Mm-hmm.
inside of you, your brain is a computer.
Mm-hmm.
And on the bottom right, y'all, he was talking to the class and he said, let me break down something simple for you. And he wrote down the string theory and the relativity of time and space. And so right there, even in the back of his head to the right, you see
Mm-hmm.
once again our spaceship. So we
Mm-hmm.
have to open our minds again, y'all. Really
Mm-hmm.
open our minds and
And our
look at.
pineal gland is a seat.
There you
You
go.
know, it's a
It's the
seat.
seat
It's
of
that's the
God.
soul. Mm-hmm. It's
It's
right.
where your soul is.
It's your third. You're literally your third eye's right here. That's why it's like, if you ever shoot a person and they hit them in the head, it's the immediate eject button.
Mm,
So
mm.
it ejects from the body because it hits directly in the pineal gland. But the thing is we have the power to deflect the bullets. We allow it because we choose to just let it be. It's based off of, like you said, going back to the imagination. The power that you believe that you have is the power that you have. So if we believe we have this power, we have this power. Just
Mhm,
that's the ability that we have as carbon-based people,
and
melanated. Because we got the
mhm,
whole sun to dig behind.
mm.
We harness the power of the sun literally in our skin. Because black what attracts. This is why for some reason I had all black on today. A little bit of gold, some copper. But um, yeah, those are our
What do you
powers. Our powers are our imagination within the spells of us mastering it, and along with us connecting it with the science to where we can put it together and basically prove it. You know what I mean? With the ley lines, with us being on the different hot spots. My brother going to Mexico, so I'm sure you activated the ley lines down there as well. by putting
Yes.
in dirt.
And even in the ocean, when I was in the ocean, I was able, well, not in on the ocean, I was getting uploads and downloads. I was like, man, these people and us, we traveled in ships, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
spacecrafts or real ships, to
Mm-hmm.
different lands. So when I was
Mm-hmm.
on that cruise ship, I was like, there's no way in the world that these are the only land masses on this planet. So that
Mm-hmm.
means that Antarctica, America, Asia,
There's
Europe,
more. Mm-hmm.
Africa, there's more.
There's
There's
more.
way
And if
more.
you know, the government stops people from going once they get to Antarctica. What happens? They come out
They,
with the ships and the boats
mhm.
and tell people you can't go no further. Why? Because of those pyramids that's up there, all them lands, man. They know what's up there. There's like a degree. There is a level of societies on this planet. They have
And
certain
definitely,
levels of people that live up here and other people that live down here. But for whatever reason, the higher ups know what's about to pop, so they want to feel like they could be separated from these people. You know what I'm saying? So they separate themselves, but it's still not going to stop from what's happening because
and he,
it's the Great Reset.
and
It's
even
already.
to the right, y'all look at the Aztec calendar, and they
Hmm.
did the water somatics at 7.8 hertz resonant,
Wow.
and it
So the
also
very
looks like the ring too that you were talking about. It looks like different land masses as well. You there? Gosh, hope I didn't cut him off, and now he cut off. So right there, y'all, you guys see the Aztec calendar, and then to the left, the somatics. And always, I want you guys to notice on the Aztec calendars, the nose is always knocked off. Do you notice that? Once again, if they're knocking off the nose, that meant that that calendar is based off of your time. So once again, when you look at the Aztecs Codex and the Bourbon Codex, you'll see dark-skinned brothers and sisters with dreadlocks all throughout the Aztec culture. So once again, study the Aztecs and Mayans because we are the Maya, the mother culture, and of course the Olmec, the old Mecca, old Mecca. And Mecca just isn't a place in Saudi Arabia where people gather. So it's a place where we gathered in the Yucatan Peninsula, uh, just like in ancient Kemet and other major universities throughout the world. So remember, the planet, imagine the planet being an advanced planet where you travel to different land masses to learn different sciences, whether it's to learn how to grow crops, to go back to your people and teach them that, learning how to meditate and yoga, learning certain masonry, to learn how to build stone and sculpt stone, learning how to shoot fire out of your hands, learning different martial arts. So for me, the so-called planet was an advanced institution or advanced school, a university, a universe city. So this is a city in the universe right now where we come to learn. Just like in class, some students goof off, and some eventually go back to class and excel, and then those goofed off, and you know what happens. So, and it's not to say that everyone who goofed off or messed around in school and did bad didn't do great, because we know that the education system is flawed. But what I'm saying is it's the same thing right now. People are being distracted and ditching class by not learning about themselves, by not learning about their culture and their true history. And you cannot graduate uh, to the higher realms unless you know yourself more, and that's what the higher powers know. So if you so-called happen to pass away or die, but remember, you can never die. So that's what they want you to fear and want you to not know. They don't want you to know that the other side is living. So when they say the Egyptian, the book of the dead, it's really the book of that comes forth by day, the book of life, because it's just a different dimension. It's just a different frequency. So if you knew that you had to obtain a certain amount of information while you were here, you would go about your daily lives different. You would treat your fellow man and brother and sister of all walks of life different and better, because you would know that each person is you in another density, in another form, and that this is a big university, a giant spaceship in a matrix, and this is just different avatars that we use to experience and send that information back to the motherboard, to the supreme, to the all, to make us as extraterrestrials in the universe more advanced, like updating the system. So if there's someone like me in dark, uh, lighter, pale, and then there's someone a little bigger, they're going to experience. And let's say there's someone who looks like me, um, with a different little shade, and they're across town. They're going to experience life differently through the different ley lines and magnetic fields than I would, and so they have a different experience. So each person has a different experience, which all goes back to the mothership and the motherboard. That's why we say that you don't get away with anything. For one, uh, beings and entities are existing right in front of you. They don't go anywhere right now because most people uh, don't have enough knowledge for when they do graduate to go to the higher realms like varsity. They have to stay on JV or just kind of watch and observe, while others graduate to the professional level because of the intellect. This is why they made the gang banging and the thugs so cool, because that's we're supposed to be getting that godly warrior energy, uh, but they circumvented it. Same with the woman. They're the Tahu, the thought, so they replaced thought, TOHCH, with the thought, the hooker. So they do wordplay and word spells to throw us off. This is the time to discover who you are. You don't want to die knowing more about the Bible, knowing more about the Laker game than knowing who you really are, because these cultures predate the Bible. We have to remember that they destroyed the majority of Mesoamerican libraries, tablets, and texts. If we think that the Library of Alexandria and all these other so-called Egyptian libraries and Moorish libraries were burnt, go do your research on the destruction of Mesoamerica and American history. Is actually way worse. It stated that the Spanish said that they destroyed so much that they were like, there's not going to be really anything for us to even use. It was that bad. So that means that there's still ancient devices and ancient sculptures that look like us in hidden private collections of trillionaires, billionaires, hidden underneath museums, on the bottom shelves, behind walls. Because once we see statues and giant calendars that look like you, it's going to automatically connect, and that world that they built around you is going to drop. Once again, the Olmecs were a magic mushroom, funky fungus, psilocybin eating culture. So once again, when we understand psilocybin and the funky fungus, those are extraterrestrials. The fungus is older than the human avatar. So once again, when you eat the magic mushroom, you're downloading infinite information. So that's what the mushroom does when it sprouts. It gets all the information of the universe and sprouts. So when you eat it, you tap in. So I know some people say that magic mushrooms are bad, but when you study our cultures, like the Olmecs, the Mississippi Mound Builders, the Choctaw, Washita, we ate magic mushrooms. That's why they make it illegal today, because when we're on our own land, in our own culture, eating magic mushrooms, imagine the fun we're going to have. Imagine the cities now. You think that the cities are fun now? Come on, what do you really do other than a 9 to 5? People watch TV, you can play sports, spend your money at the grocery store, but really you're being entertained. You're working to pay bills when electricity is supposed to be for free, water's for free. We can build our own living headquarters. We can build farms and create our food. So once again, we're prisoners of war. We're in an encampment if we're paying for food. We're in a prison if we're paying for water. We're in a prison if we're going to classes and they're teaching us lies about ourselves, teaching us that we were slaves from Africa, all these different things. So we have to quit. Like, there's land here, there's free land. So clearly it's going to be only a few of us who escape, because right now you have to build it in your imagination, and it takes time. It takes years of development. Just like myself, I'm still poisoned from what I've experienced. So I have to detox my mind, my body, my soul, and spirit, because I have things that I have to fix and work on myself. So if I have to fix things, I can only imagine others who aren't on this wavelength. And also crediting those who came before me, knowing how great my father was. And you keep going back, your great 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 grandfather. And when we learn about the 1800s of the so-called black inventors, everyone go research the black inventors of the 1800s, the 1900s. How were so-called former slaves and slaves able to build all these machines? It's because these people were kidnapped. They were kidnapped from their cities in America and so-called enslaved. They were in prison. Watch the movie 40 Years a Slave. He was a free man in a city, and he got enslaved. So it was showing you that we were already here in cities, and then there were some of us who lived in the country, in the mounds, and all this different stuff. And so when we watch the movie The Goonies, it shows us once again the pirates, the adventures, the ley lines. I wanted us to remember the fun adventures that they showed us. It was all about the top professors and these top Europeans having our treasures. One Eye
Yes.
Willie. So when we study the pirates, those who mastered the pi, which is a mathematical code, which means that if you understood the pi, you could travel anywhere on the planet. This is your passport. Your skin tone was your passport. You didn't need a passport from the European troglodytes. You are the passport because you're the God. And wherever you go, you bring forth knowledge in mathematics, science, magic that no one else can bring all throughout the land. So they don't want you traveling the waters, because you'll find different land masses. And the land masses that they're trying to find, we have technology to hide from. So the Mexican Navy ship strikes the Brooklyn Bridge. 2 dead, 17 injured in a blood sacrifice ritual. Why wasn't someone alarmed? And I know they could see that freaking bridge from a mile away and see that they weren't going to make it. So why were there people still dancing when they clearly saw that they were going to run into a bridge? What was that about? Was that an actual terrorist attack that didn't go right? Because we have to remember that New York is islands. That Manhattan, Long Island, all
Staten
Brooklyn, all,
Island.
yeah, there you go. All these places are connected through land, because New York, Turtle Island, and all these places were ran by so-called Black Indians. Wu-Tang, what's the name? Old Dirty Bastard said that his ancestors sold Manhattan for trinkets. And Manhattan in downtown New York used to be called Amsterdam, because once again they renamed the cities in America to throw us off that there was already a civilization here. So when the Europeans also arrived here, they arrived on Ellis Island recently. Those watching right now, type in how many Europeans can trace their ancestry back to Ellis Island, and you will discover that the majority of pale-skinned Europeans recently got here through Ellis Island in the 1800s and 1900s. You have been fed a lie, y'all, because the Europeans who did not come here through Ellis Island either were the colonizers or they were brought here by Moors as slaves. And that's what they don't want you to know, that the pirates were brothers who were terrorizing Europeans on the continent, on the land, because Europeans weren't even supposed to be at sea. They weren't even allowed to sail, because everyone knew that they weren't supposed to be around anyone, but
Mm,
certain Moors let them out of hell, which is the inner earth, which are the caves. Certain cave
mm.
systems they were banished to. And so they were recently let out of the caves back into humanity, y'all. We think
Wow.
that they've been here. They are
I think 500 years ago, and
there you
then
go. It
and
was
then with the clones
recently.
and them
Yes,
being cloned and all of that
yes,
kind of stuff.
in the
Yeah.
Yucatan Peninsula. And that's why they say Yakub. Look at
Uh-huh.
Yakub in Yucatan. That you
Uh-huh.
can change certain letters and see Yakub or Yucatan, the big headed scientist, the
Uh-huh.
Yucatan Peninsula. All those temples
He
were
had two brains.
laboratories.
Mm-hmm. Those were
Those were
labs.
laboratories.
So with all of the new people that exist right now, they created them. This is why you've seen that. If you look at the ancient Asians, from the ones that originally built the Great Wall of China and all that stuff, they were all black people. So
Yeah,
they took the Asians now, they cloned them, they brought them back lighter skin complected, and this is what they were, and they mass produced them.
there you go.
And it
Because the
happened with
original, keep going. The original Asians and Filipinos are dark skinned,
right.
woolly haired people. That's why they
Yes.
call it Melanesia.
Uh-huh.
Why they call it Melanesia? Because it's melanin Asia.
Melanesia. They just cut the word short to throw people off.
There you go.
So, and then if
So
you look at the
speak on that again, Devin, with that cloning, because a lot of people won't get it. So when you look at Asians, you'll see there's two different types. There's
Mhm.
the Asians who still have kind of a little kinky hair,
Yes.
and then there's the Asians with a flat nose. Those are
Mhm.
us. Those are
Yes.
just albinos in a different
Yeah.
climate. But the
Mm-hmm.
pointed nose Asians with the hollow hair are the clones.
The clones. Yep. Yep. They all pretty much like look alike. So,
Yes.
I mean, because so it's just like us, we have albinos. That was just the black version of an albino, and it was just duplicated. So the thing is we had albinos too that we crossed genetics with the Neanderthal, sort of basically the monkey. You know what I'm saying? Which is hence is where the Caucasians came from. Yakub crossed their DNA with them. So as they were trying to civilize them, it was a hard time civilizing them. They just didn't really couldn't comprehend it. You know, basic natural things that most people would do, like walking on our feet, getting up. They were crawling on fours, sleeping with the chickens and the animals. And when they brought them over here, they had so many diseases. I'll give you a name: Germans. People say, why do they call them Germans? Because when they would breathe on the people would get sick. That's why they call them Germans. They're germ demand. They were men that were known as germs. This is where the Europeans come from.
Yes, and
Uh,
what to build on what Brother Devin was saying, they said it came to a point to where if a European breathed on people, they would drop dead.
they would
Now, I'm sure that that's exaggerating, but they, like he said, they would get sick,
That's
and
how
so
smallpox. Different.
yeah, even on Joe Rogan's show, he said that a lot of people think that the pale skin Europeans got here and just beat everybody up. That's
Mm-mm.
not true. He
No.
said that 95% of the population in America died from diseases. So
Mm-hmm.
imagine that, y'all. So
Mm-hmm.
when they say what happened to the black Indians on the West Coast, when the Spanish arrived, they died. They
Mm-hmm.
died from
From
diseases.
diseases. So let
In
me
the,
tell
in
you
the,
how they
in the
defeated us.
Mhm.
They defeated us. Queen Khalifa over here in California, just like they did everybody else. They came with them gifts with blankets. They gave us
Mhm.
blankets. We took the blankets, and on the blankets was a smallpox
Yep.
disease, an illness, and we spread amongst people. Just like how COVID was spreading and it was killing off people, just pretty much basically breathing the shit in. The same
Mhm.
thing was with that. It was a
Yes.
plague, and it knocked off the majority of us. And by then they were able to come over here and maybe 100, 2, 3, 400. It's easy to fight people when they're sick and they're down. And then the
Mhm.
rest of the people that were here that ran off that were healthy, they became later on prisoners of war. But some of them were not enslaved, you know. And then some of those that were enslaved killed the master when he tried some weird ass shit and went on. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? To do their own thing. Perfect example, my family. My great grandfather, Grandpa Frank, killed the slave master. He got tired of her beating on my great grandma. So he took the gun from the slave master, blew the slave master's head off.
Mm-hmm. And we
That's
hear
how
a
he got.
lot of those stories in our family, and then they have to move out of town, and you
Right?
never see
Yes.
them again. They'd
Never
have to
see him
run away.
again.
Yeah,
Yeah. So we got liberated. We had to liberate ourselves, man. So we're not the way they're talking about the slave thing. That's all a whole bunch of bullshit because we were technically prisoners of war. You know what I'm
right
saying?
here.
We were warring, man, with those dudes, and we were still taking them down
Yes,
with little numbers.
right.
We were
There you go.
wounded. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so they didn't just defeat us, man. And then they were able to come over here with the clones that they had created, and they came together. And then when they came together, they said, "Okay, we're going to take these books. We're going to say we are these people." So you have the Siberians that came over and said, "Oh, we're the Indians." You know what I'm saying? And then you had the other people over, and they said, "Oh, we're the Egyptians." And they had these other people come over here. "Oh, we're the with the Spaniards. We're the Mayans and the Aztecs." So it was all a lie.
Yes,
So all the history books, all of that stuff that they taught you in school, Malcolm X knew that you guys that they were going to try to indoctrinate us. That's why he was so against integrating with the schools. That was the worst thing our people could have possibly done was integrate in the schools. They should have kept it colors only.
definitely. That's when they got us. Because even look right here. Which one of these do you think existed first? To the right, we see once again Olmec,
Right.
Maya, the brother on the cross, and also represents celestial bodies, celestial beings, celestial when it comes to Venus, all these different things with agriculture, when to grow crops, all in one symbol. But look to the right, y'all. So when you
Mm-hmm.
see Jesus Christ, the pale skinned Jesus Christ holding the
Mm-hmm.
cross, that's a made up character that
Mm-hmm.
they got from the Papa Vu when they came over here and
Right.
stole our ancient Mayan and Olmec's codexes.
Mm-hmm.
Because when they say sun worship or Jerusalem, it's Jerusalem because we use the sun to create technology and use the
Mm-hmm.
sun and the moon and the stars to grow crops, to grow edifices. That's why the pyramids of Chichen Itza, it has the serpent go down on the spring equinox. So that
Mm-hmm.
meant that our ancestors understood the celestial bodies,
Mm-hmm.
that they had the technology to hover above the land and
Mm-hmm.
survey the land because buildings to this day collapse, but our ancestors' buildings still
Still
stand
stands.
the time. So let's look forward to the left. We see the Archangel Mike L, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here we see Cuckoo, Kublai
Mm-hmm.
Khan or the Amaru right here. So we
Amaru.
can go to the temple of Bonampak in
Tupac.
Mexico.
Tupac.
And there you go. Long
Amaru.
live Tupac Amaru, because
He was a
Tupac
Mayan.
was giving clues to us on his
Uh-huh.
last album, Machiavelli, because
Uh-huh.
Tupac Amaru was the last Incan emperor to fight the Spanish conquistadors in Peru. And we know that Peru means Heru. Once
Mm-hmm.
again, so there's pyramids in Heru. And
Mm-hmm.
so right here, we see once again the jet black god of Mexico. And then you see similar headdresses that you see in South Africa with the Zulus,
Mm-hmm.
the Washita of Louisiana,
Mm-hmm.
because we are those people. We
Mm-hmm. This
already
day.
knew the knowledge of the sun cycles, the moon cycles, the Venus. We just didn't
Mm-hmm.
base our life and calendar off of the sun. We
Right.
based it off of certain stars, certain different planets. So that means that us right now are once again under a spell, what they call the Gregorian calendar, which
Mm-hmm.
once again is a imprisonment calendar to throw your natural
Right.
biorhythm, circadian
Off.
rhythm off.
Yep. Exactly. to
because
throw
there's
it
no
off.
such thing as time. This
Right.
is why they tell you it's 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 12
And
o'clock clip.
also they do it with our writing. See, we write from left to right. We were supposed to write
Right.
from right to left because
Mm-hmm.
it keeps the circulation of the energy in motion. When you throw it off its natural biological clock, it's off rhythm, so it can't really tap in. So, like what you were saying with the what you were saying when it comes
Circadian
to,
rhythm.
yes, the rhythms. So like this is how they throw us off. They got us celebrating the new year in the winter. That's another way.
Mm.
They confuse us even in the seasons.
We just
They,
said it right now. You said it perfectly. Our ancestors knew that the new year started on the spring, and that's
which is
when
the
the
first full
serpent comes
moon.
down.
Which is the
Ooh,
first
interesting.
full moon of the new year. That's we measured our stuff off of the cycles, off of the moon cycles.
Mm.
So when we measured our cycles off of the moon cycles, we knew that every 28 days it was a new month. So we had 28-day calendars. You know what I'm saying? So, and we had 13 months. So when we look at the Mayan calendar, we understand that that image of that Mayan, of that sound, 7.8 megahertz, is the literal image that's in our DNA. It is the Mayan calendar. That's how they're able to decipher the the DNA. That's how they know that we are who we are, is because we are that calendar.
Lost secrets of Mayan technology.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Wow.
I'm
Never
listening.
read the book, but I feel like I already know what they're about. But
Yeah,
I already know what they're gonna say in a sense, you know?
you do. You already do. I was gonna start showing pictures, but yeah, basically we can go through. We keep talking. I wanted to show another book, but keep going.
Oh
But
man.
here we go.
See
Look
the
at this, y'all. See if I could.
wow.
So
Wow.
we
What's the
have
bridges?
bridges, waterways, all
Mm-hmm.
headed to the pyramids.
Mm-hmm. To the literal battery conductor. Those would power entire cities, man.
So when we talk about the ancient world of America, a lot of it was blown up and destroyed. So we
Uh-huh.
don't even know what it really looked like, because
Right,
even the
right.
pyramids, they took off the gold, the copper, the stone. It
Yeah,
was
you're
all
right.
laced with minerals, blue. Imagine the pyramid with blue amethyst around it, jade.
Wow.
Imagine the ground instead
Copper.
of asphalt, copper, amethyst, cellulite.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not cellulite.
All
All
that
these
amethyst was
different.
taken out, all that, even on the inside. Because if we know amethyst, okay, amethyst is connected to what? Our crown chakra. So think
Mm,
about that. So that was probably the tip. Because if you have the
mm,
7 levels and you have the 7 colors, they were probably accessing this in the dirt. Because each dirt level has a different level of conduction.
mm.
So
Well,
one might be,
interesting. Yeah,
pyrite,
yeah,
one level, and then going up to the next level with the
yeah.
carbon conductors. The carbon
Hmm.
conductors that's connected literally as staffs, all 7 of them. And with connecting that with a certain sound vibration with your voice, you can access the 7 levels, or the
There you
seven
go. I love
sound
it.
waves, or 8 sound waves, because I'm saying it's more than that. And they
And
would
did
have
we?
these staffs. And that's what they would use to when the electricity or the lightning would hit, it would it would absorb in certain areas, or they would push it out, either send it out or send it back.
And that's what we were able to capture with these machines
Hmm.
in our brains. And then with, like Devin said, the mounds. So what do you feel about these orbs in the skies that people see, Devin?
Those are our ancestors are sending these orbs to destroy them. They're getting ready to clear house. Remember, their time length has ended. See, our ancestors wrote it down for us for these times, so we wouldn't. For those that forgot, that don't remember, we're able to look in the books and read the history of the books and what's going to happen. They said specifically in our scriptures and like our books that were taken out of the Bible and all of that, was that the last pope was the last pope. So their time is over. The great switch is here.
It definitely is. And once again, you guys see, like we talk about the mother planes. These are the baby planes. These are the baby crafts. Some come in different sizes, some come in balls, big ones, small ones. Because like we see with
Mm-hmm.
this right here again, where was it? This Columbia sphere shape, they found it and they're holding it. They tested water on it, they put fire to it, and they already said it's out of this world. It had different worldly
They can't.
hieroglyphs on it.
Mm-hmm.
So scanners. So
They can't.
imagine the big planes, Devin.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine those. And once again, the government doesn't have the technology that our ancestors have, and
Right.
I would say that's what they
But
fear.
we do, us, our people do, because it's in our DNA.
And
Gotta
that's why
understand, it's been passed down. So if when we touch those orbs, we're going to activate them.
And that's why I wanted to show right here the transmitter and the receiver to the right. The pyramid, our body are basically, they say the temple, but it's a radio tower. We're able
Mm-hmm.
to receive signals not just from the ethers and the planets and everything around us, from the plants as well,
Mm-hmm.
but also we connect directly to the mothership. And so right here through the radio waves, I feel that the telephone and their computers were once again trying to duplicate what our body can already naturally do.
Mm-hmm.
And
Do.
then so that would mean that when we got, for me, when we got trapped here, that's when we started building technology
Mm-hmm.
to travel through different dimensions. So you
Mm-hmm.
guys look at the orb in the sky right here that they took a picture of. So imagine at night those little things that are popping out, those are probably the lights that we see. And
Those are bombs.
so imagine that, y'all. So
They're bombs.
I'm looking at it right now. So,
Mm-hmm.
and look at the curvature. They said it's perfect. And look at, you see the scientists doing the test on it right now.
Mm-hmm. Give it to them down there so they can blow them the fuck up. They're gonna blow them
Right.
people down there, bro.
Mysterious fear awaits UFO panel, and these are in the 1970s, y'all. So I think this dude in Florida found this space, or found this perfectly round ball that no technology, they said, on Earth could perfectly make. And
Mm-hmm.
they're finding these all over the world
Mm-hmm.
again. And just like in the movie Men in Black 2, you remember when she left in that spaceship?
Mm-hmm.
It looked just like that. So my
Mm-hmm.
question to you, Devin, is God an extraterrestrial, like the book in the middle?
Yes, he is. Yes, it is. Her feminine energy, mother. It is an extraterrestrial. So the thing is it wanted to experience this thing that it calls life. So it became all these different things simultaneously, all at one time. You know what I'm saying? And it seemed to have the best way for it to like communicate with the environment was it had to come in carbon based form.
Mm,
It had to. It had to come as a carbonated being, which is a melanated being, because it's the best conductor when you're talking about this environment here on Earth, being able to communicate with nature, being able to tap into people's thoughts. I'm gonna show you guys how gifted we really are, and I can prove it to you right now. You ever walk by a brother, and a brother walk by you, and you just look at him and you just nod your head? You just immediately knew what he was thinking just by nodding your head. That's the type of
mm,
power that we have, just with
mm.
our thoughts. So the thing is all that stuff, all the geometrical shapes, that's our DNA. Like our DNA can access that just by touching it. If we touch it, something's gonna happen. And they know it. Let's keep them away from them. Let's keep them away from it. They don't want it to be because it goes according to our DNA. This is why all the stuff and the things that they had of us that they got hidden right now, all the weapons, we touch it right now, it's gonna activate. Because
I
the way that they
agree.
created it, they were highly advanced. They were that advanced that the tools and the weapons that they had could only be activated genetically. Only the person that was the creator or the master of the tool was the one that could access it. If you're not the master of the tool, you're not even going to be able to access it, because they were that much more advanced with thinking that they knew that if this type of technology got into the wrong hands, it would do a lot of damage, a lot of unnecessary damage. Whence, hence is what they've been doing for hundreds of years. Unnecessary damage with technology that they've been having, that they're just finally acting like, oh, we've been had this stuff for a long time. But as hard as they try to destroy us, they still can't destroy us. They
So
can only study us.
do you feel that there's aliens hiding under the sea as well?
Yes, I know there is. There's a whole underworld. Okay, several years ago, people in China, they act like they discovered it. They're like, oh, there's a forest under the forest, like in the
Mm.
ground. There's an under forest. They're like, how the hell is there another forest under the forest? Because there's an underworld. There's a world inside of the world. I don't know if you guys watched the King Kong movie. You know how King Kong and
Mm.
Godzilla was falling on the inner Earth, and on the inner Earth there was a whole nother Earth. So
Yes,
there's ways that we travel through Antarctica that we could go up, and we travel through the ley line to another dimension that's inside the Earth that they know about. You know what I'm saying? And inside this Earth, you could travel to different portions of the Earth from within the Earth. Hence, is the Grand Canyon is why it's shut up, because they could travel through the Grand Canyon. They could travel through Antarctica. They're probably traveling through freaking the Mayan pyramids down there some kind of way. But
for sure.
most of that stuff, the technology, they can't use it the way that we use it, because it's our DNA. It's encoded in us genetically. Literally, we can genetically travel and control the ley lines and control the energy all around this earth. We can do it specifically. It's in our DNA. When you look at that Mayan calendar, if you can go back to the Mayan calendar with that sound, 7.8 megahertz, that 7.8 megahertz, that Mayan calendar is written and encoded in our DNA. This is how they know who we are. They know we are the illusion. We are the Maya.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And all that right there was a big, gigantic clock. All that, we would touch it, it would move. Zzz. They have tools right now we
Yes.
can just touch, and the entire clock will activate because of our DNA. They understand that that belonged to our father,
There had to
our
been some
grandfather.
type of technology that blew this, like froze it. Like, because when I look at it, like you said, I know that these had to been laced with electricity, copper wires, different
Yes,
crystals, and they just stripped them. That's why they look so bare. Our ancestors didn't create stone just like that. We were
like that.
fancy, we were
No, we
colorful
put gold
people,
on that
you
stuff,
know.
man. We put the
Right.
drip.
They took the technology wires off of that, like Devin was
Hmm.
saying, and these things moved and activated. They created
Activate.
sounds, like you were saying,
Hmm.
and healing sounds. And
Hmm.
so imagine what type of cities we were living in. So we had edifices
Bells.
up that produced invisible sound waves that made you feel joyful. That meant that we
Yes.
were designing cities,
Right.
like what is it called? There's a word,
Okay.
feng shui.
Feng
So
shui. Yes.
a big feng shui to where we design our cities to move a certain way, and now
And we.
it's every time you
And we.
wake up, it's this harmony.
And we
You're just in a
yes.
good mood.
Let me let
And
me let me elaborate on it too. Let me continue.
okay,
Let me elaborate on it a little bit. Okay, there were bells. So when they would hit the bells, notice all the cities in America had bells. You remember the movie Venom? Remember the
yes,
parasite?
mm-hmm,
So that we would hit the bells, and the bells would get rid of the parasites that would try to attach themselves to the people. So this is why we lived in peace, because there were certain sound vibrations that the parasites didn't like. You know what I'm saying? So this is why the white men got rid of all the bells, because of the parasites that's attached to them. Because a lot of those people are possessed. When you're an NPC, you're a non-player character. You're a soulless being, but you can't get possessed because you're soulless. You can literally get possessed by a different entity, sort of like a host. So these deities put tattoos, letting the other people know, letting the other uh entities know that this one is occupied by this particular deity. So hence is why you see a lot of women with the butterfly tattoo. That's an indication that it's already been possessed. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
So a lot of women don't, they do this and they unconsciously do it, but if you look at them, the past, the history, the things that they do, It's all like it's toxic. But on that note, I'm looking at that picture and it looks like it's killing the little ones. Like, get your asses up out of here.
There you go, because that's a picture of us snatching an invader who looks like the modern day.
Mm-hmm.
So right there, y'all, when we look at, and those are dreadlocks, those are colorful,
Yes.
those look like Zulus, those are us. You know,
Right.
we match that outfit. When you go
Mm-hmm.
to the jungle, you want to look like the jungle. Pale skinned people wouldn't naturally be in the jungle. They
Mm-hmm.
would want to be darker and a greenish to blend in.
Those are the Cabbage Patches, the clones that they were cloning and they were manufacturing them. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying? And when they were manufacturing them, they were trying to turn and try to fight against us. And we were like, how dare you, little motherfucker, try to fucking, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. D-Bat take his head off. And you
mm,
leave him as an example for everybody. Like, this is what you do when you come up against us. And throw it
yes,
at them. And that backed a lot of them away. But when they turned off the grid, um, there were tunnels and there were places that we went under because we knew that there was going to be that sound vibration. There had people that went underground to escape the thing that took off the land. They hit us with the sound vibration that took down our grid and it destroyed a lot of our stuff. They didn't just go in and destroy it. They hit it
I,
with our own weaponry, with our own technology.
I definitely agree with that. To me, I always relate that with the story of their God coming down and blowing up the towers, the pyramids.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing now that the pyramids are all connected through the ley lines and grids, the obelisks and the mounds, that's a network of
Mm-hmm.
communication. So
Mm-hmm.
if I set up an obelisk with certain, like we know, crystals and know what star system to point it at a time, there's a way to connect my cousins who might live in LA. And
Mm-hmm.
then they got one that connects to San Francisco. So now we just go create like some pyramids,
All we got to do is
some
touch
mounds.
it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so we create edifices, do our little dances, and now we're getting information from our cousins out
Mm-hmm.
of state.
Mm-hmm.
So this is how we communicated as well. So keep going. I'm listening, because even when I
Oh,
look at the headdress, I'm feeling that that's technology on there back in the day.
yeah,
That's not just
absolutely,
feathers.
absolutely. You could definitely know
Look.
those are green locks because we rocking green locks right now. All this stuff that we have our ears, different people's ears probably stretched. You know,
Hmm.
um, nose rings. Because when they came off of those boats and they seen us with all this gold and all these feathers, they were like, "Wow!" Especially the women. Women were gorgeous with all this body, and they were probably like 80 years old, and they were looking like they were 25 or 21.
Mm.
And they were like, who the, they would ask them their age and they would be like, you're 125 years old? And they would be like, how do you guys live that long? And they were
Right.
just, we have all these herbs and the stuff that we was using naturally. You know what I'm saying? We were using the black seed oils. You know what I'm saying? We were eating sea moss. We were using gold to rejuvenate our body. We had
Yeah.
copper. We were
Yes.
using sound
Monolithic
vibration.
gold.
Yeah, we were utilizing sound vibrations to connect the cells in the body to
Colloidal
reactivate them.
silver.
Yeah, colloidal silver, drinking all that stuff. We were putting that silver in our skin, so we were healing without scarring. And then when we would lose, if somebody was to lose a ligament or something was to happen for whatever reason, they would regrow the ligament.
Yes, we could regenerate. Once again, us as serpent people, just like
Mhm.
lizards. That's why keloids form. Keloids
Mhm.
are a form of when you used to be able to regenerate your limbs.
Mhm.
I'm listening, brother.
Right.
I love
Right.
it.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
that's why it's
Absolutely.
green, little green men,
So.
because uh, green was our natural color as well, or the bluish. When they dropped a nuclear bomb on the planet, our skin rusted. You got to remember that the trees help oxidize the planet. And then, so when they poison the waters, when they dam the waters, when they cut the trees, a lot of that nuclear waste from the last apocalypse or last nuclear fallout, it
Mhm.
rusted our green skin and we
Mhm.
became a
Let me show you.
bronze color.
Let me show you
That's why
too. How
Osiris is green.
this
But
is
go
true.
ahead.
This is true. So, and you know how you know that this is the truth. You could take some copper. You can put copper on your skin. If you take it, you leave it on for a day or so, and you take it off the skin. Copper does one and two things. It absorbs the toxins that's in your body. It pulls it to the surface. It pulls it out, and it also exposes your true color. So when you pull it off, you notice your skin is green.
Didn't think of that one. I wouldn't have been able to
So
say that.
yeah,
Okay.
so your skin is green. Your skin is green is because of that. You know what I'm saying? We do have that in us. You know what I'm saying? The serpent DNA, the God DNA, whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying?
And
We
that's why
are. Go ahead.
I feel they want us to fear the serpent, and that's why they put that in
Mhm.
the Bible as well. Because when we say, like, when I say, "I'm Quetzalcoatl, the serpent," oh, the serpent. But what did the serpent do in the Bible?
Mhm.
His name wasn't the devil. His name wasn't Lucifer. His name
Mhm.
wasn't Satan. The serpent was a different character.
Mhm.
So the serpent taught the woman the knowledge of the, she became wise like the gods,
Mhm.
knowing good and evil. And right
Mhm.
there it says gods,
Mhm.
plural.
Mhm.
So that meant that there were other scientists or gods in the so-called garden watching this one particular god create this experiment,
Mhm.
because it didn't say that the gods intervened, but they watched this god ask Eve, who told you? That lets us know that the God of the Bible isn't the almighty God. It's
Mhm.
another extraterrestrial high power entity, because it
Mhm.
asked the question. It
Mhm.
said, why are you hiding? And it said,
Mhm.
we're naked. Who, wait a second, who taught you that? He didn't know.
It also
He
said,
did not
"Let
know.
us create man in our image after our likeness," which is referring to multiple.
Multiple gods. Let us
So
make
what's
man in our image after our
so,
likeness.
so when
Go
they
ahead.
were on those motherships and they were creating man, you know what I'm saying? When they sent us down here, because they sent their offspring, they manifested us, put us down here to run this earth. They were sitting there and they're like sitting back and they're absorbing. And whenever they send a messenger down, if you listen to the history of it, everybody from Buddha to Lord Krishna to Christ, all of them ascended. You know what I'm saying? They all got ascended onto the motherships. If you pay attention to the history, that's because they
Mm,
were masters that was sent down to this plane to help elevate the consciousness of humanity. You know what I'm saying? To teach people, the way. You know what I mean? The way of the Buddha, the way to be a god. You know what I'm saying? And when they would finish with their services, they got ascended. They got brought back up by the mothership. All of them. Most of the great ones. You know what I'm saying? So
they all talk
um,
about it. You're absolutely right.
they all talk
Even the
about it. So
story of leaving in the whirlwind. Go ahead, I'm listening.
So we knew. So our ancestors would bow down. We would see the UFOs in the airs. They would, a lot of them would bow down, would show respect. The cats would come off of these ships with all this gold and all this jewelry, and they would pay respect. And we would exchange. They would give us information. All of that. We understood who we were. But what happened is that they disconnected the history. They literally, when they shut down the grid, they were able to take a lot of the information because we were already depleted. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us were sick, we were dying, so they could take a lot of us and ship us over to Alabama from Mexico. You know what I'm saying? They were shipping us from different parts of this continent, all up and down. You know what
Talk
I'm
about it.
saying? You
Talk
know what I'm
about it.
saying? So that was the Pacific slave trade that happened. But this was when the numbers were depleted. You know what I'm saying? We were already battered and bruised from the plagues. The grid was down. You know what I'm saying? All this shit was happening. You know? All this stuff was coming on from all these different angles, man. And we just, you know, we at that time that's just what happened. But the ancestors also said in the literature that everything that was taken from us was going to be given back. They were going to redeem us. They're going to give us back it all. They was going to let them run the world for their 400 or 500 years. Gave them their little 400 or 500 years time to reign. They did it. Now they're shutting down everything. Now it's all being taken away. You know what I'm saying? And it's being not just taken away, but it's being given back to its rightful owners. The land itself is a deity, as an entity, and the entity of the deity belongs to us. So the people that are here on these lands that aren't supposed to be here are going to get swept off of them anyway. Because now we have the power to curse. We have the power to curse. So the information and the resources that you guys have that belong to us, you need to give it back to us, or it's going to destroy you. I'm going to verbally curse you with the plagues right now. Anybody that's listening to this that has our literature, our scriptures, the things that belong to us, you must return it. My ancestors, I'm sicking them on you right now. They're going to destroy you. You're being destroyed. So you guys have to give us the information. Give us back our lands, give us back our information, give us back our identity, give us back everything that was taken. You already know the books already said 400 years. Just give it back.
I
It'd be
love
easier. It'd be easier for you guys. Like, you don't want this smoke that's coming,
it. Mm.
especially from the big brothers from the stars. They key kind of taking you guys out. Half of you guys can't even reproduce anymore. You wonder why,
Mm.
right? Because there was only a limited time for you to even exist. This is the end of your destruction. That was your last pope. That was your last everything. This is your last president of the United States. Donald Trump is the last president of the United States, of what we call the United States. It's not going to be a United States in the next 4 years. It's coming back to us. You guys got to give it all back, and we're going to rebuild. And right now, the rebuilding process is now. Me and you talking. We're rebuilding. This is for the next generation. You
I
know, some
love
of these people are going to look at us and be like, because they're so caught up with the spell, the gospel of Christianity, ghost spell. They're so caught up in that spell of it that they're lost. But those that are breaking past the spell are able to see things clearly now.
I agree,
Get what
brother.
I'm saying?
I love you coming on the show. Let us know where you can find you. And leave us
Yes.
something. Leave us with some gifts, knowledge, and
Okay.
information.
Look, you guys, man. So I'm gonna give you guys something simple. This is something for us to ponder on. Thoughts, words, and actions. Your thoughts create the reality that you perceive. Words become actions. So you think it, you speak it, you become it, you manifest. So you got to manifest who you are by reprogramming your DNA, by affirming who you are. See, we've affirmed to ourselves and we said we are not God. We're supposed to say I am God, because when you say that I am God, you are operating on that I am God frequency. So you'll be able to conceptualize and understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. To some of y'all, it might sound as mumbo jumbo because you don't understand it, but as you evolve and as your frequency rises and lowers, you'll figure out, okay, I get what he was saying. So what we all can do collectively as a people, we all have to collectively become on one thought, because we are the power. It's our power. Our power controls the ley lines. Our power controls the deities of the earth, because the deities were given to us. We were the ones that were intended to reign supreme over everything. We had power to resurrect our ancestors. We have to literally resurrect them, put them in new bodies, new forms, people that came back. So this is what our future generation is going to do. We're going to bring back the people from the old. We're going to resurrect them. This is why a lot of the people were mummies, because they knew when this day and age came, we were going to be able to resurrect them and bring them back, and they're going to give us information. You know what I'm saying? That a lot of the information that we lost. So they're there. Just they were mummified for a reason.
Yes.
Trust, they could have cremated them. Why
Mm-hmm.
didn't they cremate them? They
Right.
preserved them for a reason. They wanted to preserve them so we could study. And once we study, we find out who they are. We can resurrect them. It's all in the
Yes.
calendar. We are the code. The code is our DNA. God eternal. What you want to say? What forgot what the dude said where it was, but it came from us. God eternal's within our body, because the code is we are the code. Don't look outside yourself for a code. Don't look up to no stars, no heavens, no over here. You are it. So tap within yourself, and all the stuff that they told you to be afraid of. Oh, don't deal with magic, and don't deal with the herbs, and don't talk, and don't use the dowsing rods. That's all bullshit. Those are just ways for us to connect with our ancestors, and ways for us to control the ley lines. You control the ley lines with the dowsing rods. You can control the ley lines with your stones and your crystals. Especially with the carbonated person, we're naturally carbon based. With our electrical conductors on our body, we can control it. We just got to learn how to manipulate it. And by manipulating the sound, by tapping into the vibrations. So I encourage everybody to listen to the 7.8 megahertz tonight. There's a reason why that popped up. Let's listen to that tonight collectively as a people, to activate the pineal gland, that particular vibration.
I
You know what I'm
love
saying?
it. And as
So,
we close it out too, remember the hairless dog, Anubis.
Hey.
Moto, Exo, Cho,
Dragon Ball
Chaco
Z. They used it. They used it.
comes from Mexico, America,
Yeah.
right here. And so we
Mhm.
talked about the herbs, us being the serpent people, the return of the Quetzalcoatl, the return of the serpent gods, the corn
Mhm.
gods, the maize gods, the
You know what the
free from
return
the
is?
nature call
The
of ground.
return is the awakening. We have awakened.
We are
And this is
awakening
the time that they know, those that know respect us. Wow.
right here. You see us, the calendar,
Mhm.
Quetzalcoatl. Let's see if I can get
Mhm.
good. Look at that. That's
Mm.
us.
Aztec. And what you say? Go back. Elaborate on Olmecs. You said something about the Olmecs.
Olmeca, because the
Oh.
Olmecas, because when we say Olmec, they say the rubber people. They say it means the rubber people, even though we are the rubber people because we created the rubber ball games. That's why you see the in Mexico and Latin America and still around the world, rubber
Soccer.
ball games. Pele, we were the greatest rubber ball players since we created it.
Pele.
So we
Pele.
need to get into more soccer. But the
Mhm.
Olmec, I say, is the land of the old Mecca. And
Oh.
remember, Mecca just doesn't necessarily mean Saudi Arabia. It's a place where we festive. It's a place where we gather. It's a place where we celebrate. Like we say, it's the Mecca of basketball. You know, it's the Mecca track and field, certain areas. So the old Mecca was the old world, which is America. And there are pyramids
Mhm.
all through the Yucatan. So that meant that
Mhm.
people around the world would come not just to Egypt as well, but they would also
Mhm.
come to the Americas. The whole planet was advanced. You can go to Asia and see Angkor Wat and all these different places because
Mhm.
wherever you travel
Melanesia.
to and learning, high advanced, what'd
Mhm.
you say?
Melanesia.
Melanesia, right. Shouts
Mhm.
to our Samoan brothers too. And
Mhm.
always remember we are the original Hawaiians. Because like
Mhm.
Devin said, when the Chinese came, when the clones came, they mixed in. Go look at the original
Mhm.
Filipinos. If you have a Laos friend or a Cambodian friend, I guarantee you most likely they'll tell you, man, we're brothers.
Right.
Whenever I was friends with a Laos brother or a cool Filipino
Yeah.
or a Cambodian, they'll
Mhm.
be like,
Or
where
even
are
the
from
Samoans. Yep.
Thailand?
Mhm.
Samoans, they know. They'll be like,
They
man, we're
know.
brothers. And so they
Mhm.
know that they got mixed, but they can either rock with their colonizer side or
Mhm.
they can rock with their real roots, which is us.
Mhm. A lot of
The
them are
reason
rocking with
why
us.
they don't rock with us all the way is because our people are we've identified as black. But once
Right.
they see us identifying as the serpent people again, oh, the Samoan brothers,
Oh.
those are security too, boy.
Wow.
Warriors, the Mexican brothers who are righteous. You see them up
Uh-huh.
north going, I ain't gonna get into the politics, but we know
Oh
what that's
yeah.
about. The brothers, the
Mhm.
Mexican brothers up north know what's up. They don't have beef with us. It's the Southern California
Yes.
Mexican gangs who
Mhm.
are racist. That's
Mhm.
what we need our Mexican brothers watching this show. I need all my Mexican brothers who love us to,
Mhm.
to wipe out the racist ones because
Mhm.
no one can advance in this war of racism. Nobody wins in racism. But
Mhm.
what we're not going to allow you to do is dictate our future anymore. We're not going to
Mhm.
allow you to we don't care if you get mad, but what you're not going to do is deny us of our heritage.
Of our heritage, our history.
You guys are the
Guys can't do it no
holders.
more.
You guys are the holders of our sacred information. So
Mhm.
we're not just saying give it to us. We're saying to our Mexican brothers and sisters that we love you, that
Mhm.
we love you, and that
Mhm.
our people, we've been poisoned. So when you see our brothers sagging their pants, gang banging, thugging, killing each other, when you see our sisters acting a fool,
This
that's
is by
not who we
design.
are. We're this by
Mhm.
design and poisoning. But when our
Mhm.
people understand who we are, when we understand the meaning of all these symbols, the world ascends to higher heights.
Mhm.
Knowledge, power, wealth for
Mhm.
us all.
Oh, so for us to rise, the whole world will rise.
Yes.
That's the thing. The secret is it's behind us. Why do you think they hit us with the drugs? Why do you think they keep trying to take us down? Why do you think they focus it all around us? Because we are the story. When we rise, the world rises. It's going to be a peaceful world. You're going to live longer. You're actually going to go to the doctor and actually get the cure. They're just not going to put you on a bit. They just not going to put you on a pill. You're going to die. You're going to keep living. You're going to see your life expectancy might just be for 700 years or for 70 years. This life with these people rulership. Under us, it'll be 700.
There you go.
You'll live a
That's
lot
the obsidian.
longer.
Living for infinity,
Yes.
not dying, just
To
like in Peter
infinity.
Pan, Neverland. They're the ones who taught us how to die. We didn't die, we left when we wanted to leave. That's
Right.
the
Those
whole
that
point.
left.
We didn't have an age. We didn't know our age because we weren't counting time like them.
And the ones they left behind, they already knew in the end they were going to rise back up. So you
Yes,
can't stop what has already been written and prophesied. See, the magic is in the words. The word itself is the life. You speak it, and so you could take a word and speak it over a crystal, and it will materialize or become destroyed based off of your words. Wow, that's beautiful. Amethyst is amazing. Wow.
and that's what we are. We're returning and we're rising. We're rising like the Kundalini. We're rising as the serpent. This is the new year. We are the new year. We are the new reality. We are the master navigators. We are the Quetzalcoatl. I am the maze god. You got Devin, the chosen one. We're gonna start doing more and more episodes for y'all.
Yes,
We're coding it because it's coming out the West Coast, baby.
it's
This
coming.
is California's time. In particularly,
Yes,
this is the Empire's time. The
yeah.
Inland
Get it right.
Empire's
The
time,
empire. Do you
baby.
understand? This is the empire.
That's
This is
why
where
they
it
call it
all.
the IE, y'all, the Inland Empire of California. Y'all haven't heard our story yet. Y'all heard the Bay. Y'all heard
Right.
Oakland and San Francisco. Y'all heard Fresno. Y'all heard LA. But y'all haven't heard Riverside yet. Y'all haven't heard San Bernardino yet.
Let's talk about the
This is
Indians
the land of
there.
the Moors, baby. That's why they call it Moreno Valley, baby. Used to be
Moreno
called
Valley.
Sunnymead. They
Right.
have a
Dark
Sun
Valley.
City. They have a
shot- the-
Palm Springs, and what are the palm trees? That's Shingle. You feel me?
See,
Learn
even the
about Palm
coconuts.
Springs.
See, when they arrived here on these lands, a lot of things dried up. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like immediately like a curse that hit.
Yes.
So we had pineapples that were indigenous to these lands, and we have coconuts. So don't
Yes.
think that it's just only certain areas. See, coconuts was a way for us to drink the water, and the water that we needed to drink. See, the thing is, when you add coconut water, it hydrates you. It's nutrients that your body naturally needs. See, when you drink regular water, it just flushes the cells. So I'm looking at that. It's interesting.
It's heavy too.
Wow. And the detail, everything means something. The detail to it, man. Look at the miraculousness. Wow.
So we gotta learn all that, y'all. This is class is in session.
Yes.
This is the statistics. You need to know more about this than knowing about the NFL. You need to know more about this than Real Housewives of Atlanta. This is us. It's gonna take a team. It's gonna take a team, y'all. So I don't care if I pass the ball at the last second and Devin hits the shot and everyone runs on the court to celebrate Devin. Shit, I passed the ball to the homie. He hit the game-winning shot. We about to celebrate.
I'm just glad to be on the same basketball court because I want the next generations to come. This is the new Bible. Shoot, this is the stuff that our children's children or the next generation is gonna look back and be like, wow, that was when the old world ended and the new world begun.
Wow.
Think about it. We're at the beginning of the new world. They're like, wow, the world, it died, but these are the people that brought forth the new knowledge.
Mm. Yes, we
Wow.
did, and yes,
The
we are.
gatekeepers, man, the elders. Right.
There we are.
See,
You know.
the thing that they hate and they need to understand is they say, "Oh, you don't know who you are. You're this, you're that, you're this, you're that." I says, "No, I'm all of it."
Yes,
We have kingdoms in Africa. Yes, we have kingdoms in America, the Aztecs, the Mayans, even much more that was wiped off. You know what I'm saying?
yes.
So we were all around the world. We had all of the kingdoms. We all come from the stars.
We are the star people, and
The
that's what
star
he
seed.
asked. We when they had a Baja ecloglyph and a geoglyph, in the igloos they call them.
Mm-hmm.
It was of like the aliens, and they were black. And he said, "You know," I said, "That's Baja." And he's like, "Oh, this one's $300." I was like, "Next
Yeah.
time." But the fact that they were surprised and happy that I knew enough to identify the real stuff, while the tourists were looking at the other stuff, I'm like, "Yo, I need Omega." And so,
Ooh.
and so, I want everyone also watching the show as we close. When you're passing the mountains in Riverside County and San Bernardino County,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of those mountains that you see with peaks and flats, those are pyramids that we
Mm-hmm.
need to dig up and discover.
Mm-hmm.
I promise y'all, the
Mm-hmm.
inland empires where the
Mm-hmm.
pyramids were. What Devin
Mm-hmm.
was
All up
saying is
through
that,
Victorville, all of that. Yep.
mm,
Mm-hmm. You could look down in Victorville and see the hills and see the pyramids going
wow,
into it. So we could just go down there and look. That's another powerful ley line. But like you said, when the colonizers came, they took dirt and they covered a lot of that stuff up with dirt and rocks, like all those rocky mountains and stuff over there in Riverside. Those are, like you said, those are pyramids. They just covered them up. They don't want you
mm-hmm.
to know what's going on under there.
No, and they connect. So when you guys see houses on top of those places, it's this military housing, and they'll build houses that make you think people live there, but really they have tunnels connected to
Military's
the
inside. It's
pyramid.
military bases. Yep.
So they'll have the pyramids covered up, but they'll be excavating it while we're
Mm-hmm.
going to, well, some people go to work and, run the city and do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But in all actuality, they're underground finding different tunnels. That's why I said it's up to us, we the people, to form our own union, to form our own
Mm-hmm.
political parties, to come together collectively and purchase land. And so we
Mm-hmm.
build wealth together. If it's 12 or 13 of us, that's millions. And then when we step outside of our land, we travel together in packs. And
Mm-hmm.
it's only for purpose, whether it's us getting paid to speak at conventions, lectures, and we'll have technology with us. We'll
Mm-hmm.
have different workout programs, foods. Each of us have different trades. That's how we
Mm-hmm.
gonna roll.
We find out how
And
we're
then,
good at. Mm-hmm. That's our
right.
community, and we
And
make
that's
the
how we
most
build.
important thing is two things we need to form: our own economy, to where our money's good with us, and number two is our army. We need to
Yes.
form our army. That, like you said, we can only access those weapons with our technology, with our DNA. Once we are able to access that, then that's it. And we could start small, but it would have to be done amongst us. We can't broadcast it until it's built. And once it's built, we're off to ourselves. You know what I'm saying? So when the stuff hits the fan, we got protective devices protecting us. You know what I'm saying? Not just that, but we can grow our own land. We can grow our own food. So when food shortages hit, we don't have to worry about the food shortages. We got our own food. You know what I'm saying? We're growing our own stuff. We grow things that our body needs.
I'm
That's
listening. I'm
beautiful.
just showing them.
Wow, look at the helmets. Look at the lips though. And the noses.
Look at
Wow.
that.
Look at the noses. The mask, the faces.
And that's why they knock off, like we said right here before we end it, with this picture here. Oh, there you go. You notice how they have that nose knocked off at all the Aztec calendars, because that
Mm-hmm.
nose looks like this right here.
Mm-hmm. That's why they knocked off those noses, because them noses look like my nose that you're looking at right here.
Right. And
Because those are our
anyone who
people.
gets mad at us wanting to discover our culture again is a racist and a devil, and they're part of the colonizers. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with racist people who know who we are, or some don't, but those who do,
Some were
and
taught lies, and they don't know
right,
what they were taught was a lie.
right, because even as we speak on the Mexican culture, and I was saying that they're the holders of our information. So what
Mm-hmm.
we're asking is like, yo, teach us our old ways. If there's a professor, an anthropologist, you know
Mm-hmm.
that our DNA activates to us. So if you teach us these languages and tones and what it reads, we'll be able to interpret
To
it faster.
activate it,
Right, activate and
perpetuate
get
it.
the ball
We'll
rolling.
activate this stuff, man. We'll
Right.
activate the tools, the technology that you guys say. We'll turn it on.
Mm-hmm.
Just got to teach us what the words were, what the original language was. If you guys have the original language in the scrolls, how to pronunciate
Right.
it, because it was all, it was yeah, it was all the sounds. Well, yeah, I'm saying, and it would levitate the objects. I was just looking at a melanated sister today. I lost it. She was
Mm.
using the sound vibration and she was moving it, and they were like, "Look at our greatness and what we can do." She was activating some ancient shit, and it was levitating some water out the ground. She was showing us how they built the pyramids, just with the sound.
Levitation,
Mm,
Leviathan. That
mm-hmm.
kind of rhymes. And then the movie Abyss, y'all. And then
Mm-hmm.
Waterworld. To me, Waterworld is an example of who we were. We had gills. He had gills behind his ears.
Mm-hmm.
So if the planet was mainly water, once again, there's people and there's beings underneath the waters. There's even a people of Melanesia that dive so deep that they develop something with their spleen, or they don't have a spleen, or the spleen is
Mm-hmm.
bigger, one of those, and they're able
Mm-hmm.
to hold their breath for like an hour. Hours.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
And so that meant that once again, we are those people.
We are those people of the water. We are the gods and the goddesses of the old age. They
The
are back.
Delphi. And to close it, watch the movie Johnny Mnemonic.
Mm-hmm.
Keanu Reeves, they plug in his brain into a dolphin
Mm.
brain. There's a rapper called Dolphin Brain from the IE.
Mm-hmm.
Much love.
Dolphin
And
brain.
so, like
Cool.
Brother Devin was saying, the dolphins are the Delphi. So it's showing you even here in Greeks that in ancient times we would ride dolphins to certain land masses where only the dolphins knew where to go. You probably go under a
Mm.
cavern and it's land, but it's covered
Mm-hmm.
in water. And so
Mm-hmm.
they would teach you. And that's why in this movie Atlantis, they had these water machines. And
Mm-hmm.
so I read this book called The Oracles of the Dead by Robert Temple, and it was showing you how the dolphins and there were lands where these rituals took place, where people would bathe in psychedelics. And like I said, we taught by people wearing a mask with the stars, and if they could
Mm-hmm.
pass the test, they could leave and
Mm-hmm.
go back to their lands and enrich their people. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what it's all about. Even with stories like the Loch Ness Monster, what type of beings are underneath the ocean, and are
Literally.
they intelligent?
Oh
And the
yes.
answer is yes. So we have to tap in to nature, because when you can talk to your plants and talk to the bird, talk to the dog, they have information. We're not the only ones who are intelligent on the planet. It's just that
Mm-hmm.
the troglodytes have taught you in school that you can't do this. It's because he can't do
Mm-hmm.
it. Only a few of
Mm-hmm.
them can.
Mm-hmm.
And
You
that's
can't
why you
really
see
do
the
it to that
doomsday
degree.
fish. The doomsday
Mm-hmm.
fish washing up in California.
Mm.
And then you see them getting attacked by their own killer whales that they have in captivity. So once again, the killer whales have souls, because killer whales are mammals.
Mm-hmm.
We
They're
forget
taking them
that.
out because they know that those are not their masters. They know that they were only assigned for a particular time to have this reign. Now they know, okay, it's time to let them know you guys are no longer in control.
Yes.
We
Free
control the
Willy.
oceans. This is the thing is they're afraid of us getting closer to these oceans. We got to get to these oceans, man. We got to ground our feet in the water, because then that's the way we can connect to the rest of the water masses around the world. It's through the
Exactly.
ocean.
Return to Atlantis. It's the rising of Atlantis, y'all. The rising of
Mm-hmm.
the island of Mu. These, as the
Mm-hmm.
water changes, land masses will appear. That's what they're doing underneath the oceans, y'all. To me,
Mm-hmm.
they're actually blowing up these monuments underneath the ocean. So when the tides change, it's the same situation that they're doing. So they're searching for underwater civilizations as we speak, and that's why in the movie Atlantis, Dr. Sweet, he was a brother, and they said he was an Indian. They said he was African American mixed with Indian. So it's giving you hints that the
Can't.
brother was an Olmec. That's an Olmec right there.
Mm-hmm. They were big people naturally, so they
Yes.
knew these guys had muscles, man. Big, tall, strong, muscular dudes, man. Just and
And in the
man.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, at the end of the movie, they were talking about that the Dolphins were sending out signals the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Trying to communicate with us, but we lost
Yeah.
the track of the language because they
And
confused us with the seasons,
mm,
threw us off of our balance, which is why we lost our ways. Like there's certain times and there's certain seasons we're supposed to naturally fast.
and then
There's certain.
even women, they outlawed it, but women at a time would go to these Delphi's when they were about to give birth, and they would give birth assisted
No.
by dolphins, and it was proven scientifically that dolphin assisted birth, all the children turned out more intelligent. Go
Yeah, I
research,
seen
go
it.
watch it, research
Mm-hmm.
dolphin assisted births, and this is what
Mm-hmm.
we need to return to. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we need help with these people poisoning our waters and hurting our animal brothers and sisters.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Echo the
They,
Dolphin. I used to rent this video game and it was too hard. So anybody watching this, I don't know if you guys remember Flipper, Free Willy, Echo the Dolphin. There were all these dolphin, killer whale video games, movies that they were still trying to let us know to have a relationship, and now we can only go to SeaWorld pretty much.
mm-hmm.
So as we close it out, once again, Palm Springs is in the news. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Once again, Riverside County is going to be in the news forever until the next reset. I promise y'all. It's
Mm-hmm.
the next frontier is Riverside, San
Yeah.
Bernardino County, the
It's all being
IE.
destroyed. It's those
And
orbs,
then when
man.
the
The orbs are
floods
coming
happen
down. The
and the
orbs are
ending,
destroying them.
Tales
Mm-hmm.
from the Hood. I know y'all
Mm-hmm.
remember this movie, The Slave Plantation. Now remember, us as Moors and indigenous originals,
Mm-hmm.
we built these houses. We built these. They'll
Mm-hmm.
say that it was Europeans. You guys just got out the caves. You guys weren't the Masons and the
Right.
Moors building all that in Europe. That was
Right.
us.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be symbolic of the wicked black devils and the wicked blackamoors
Mm-hmm.
who look like us and their stuff falling. It could symbolize the end of apartheid and slavery here, and it could
Mm-hmm.
symbolize a rebirth. And
It's
then it could
both. Yep.
symbolize Martin Luther King leading our
Mm-hmm.
people into a burning house.
Burning house, man. He led us into some stuff. Malcolm X had the right agenda, had the right mind on that. He was
And
like,
him
hell nah, we do not need to integrate.
and look in the middle, Devin. You see the blonde hair, blue eyed president holding the
Mm-hmm.
American flag in terror because that's his last. This is his last frontier of rulership. This is
Mm-hmm.
it.
This is
And
it.
what Donald Trump is going to do, he's going to ruin, just like they do with us, with all of our entertainers and leaders. They destroy the image or
Mm-hmm.
assassinate them, or they have to fake their death. Well,
Mm-hmm.
what the so-called pale skin has done to himself with the Donald Trump
Gonna
is
fake his assassination because
they're,
it's
no,
crumbling.
they're gonna hate pale skinned men so much that
Mm-hmm.
a pale skinned man will never be allowed to be in power again. He
Mm.
won't be trusted. And then the reverse again, to where women will not have sex with the
Mm.
pale man again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how he gets wiped off the planet. You wipe the
Mm-hmm.
devil off the planet through sex. So he has
Mm.
to manipulate the minds of our women to have sex with him,
So
to
you know
have
what's
many
funny?
offspring,
You know what's funny? What's
keep
crazy
them
now is
alive.
Their women are not wanting to reproduce with them anymore. They're all coming at us.
They've always been. That's why they have to make us look like devils and rapists and sex molesters, all these bad things that they truly are. And they'll get the ones that they corrupt and throw them out to hang, like you see with the trial today and Cosby. It's nonstop. It's every year they're taking down the brothers, nonstop. But right here, Tales from the Hood, he's in a similar slave plantation, and the dolls eat him, they kill him. And so to me, it's a symbolism of what's happening right now. The original people of the land who were captors of war, who would they say enslaved, we're taking back our land. And the so-called pale-skinned man, that's his greatest fear, is when he's not in rulership, who's gonna trade with him? Who's gonna wanna deal with a group of racist devils when the world finds out what they have done, what they have hidden
His
on purpose?
information.
When Hitler said it too, when the world finds out what the so-called pale-skinned Jews have done, and what the rest of the world who followed them have done, it's gonna create a world war, and we're gonna be taken out because the pale skins are gonna go around killing everyone who doesn't look like them. That's what they're planning to do. That's why they have all their guns and all that stuff. And that's why they have to get your Mexican brothers and sisters to hate you too, because they're all going to kill you. I'm telling you right now, all we have is each other. Because if it goes down, the majority of Mexicans, like they do, are going to go around killing you. And the majority of whites are going to be trying to kill you too. So you better start sticking together. And we ask our Mexican brothers and sisters for assistance. We need your assistance to fight these devils. We need your assistance. Mexico should be our free land for those who are righteous to be in Mexico by the pyramids. That should be our refugees from America. Because we left Atlantis, we left Mu, the people of Tahuti, the priesthood of Tahuti. When it cracked off, we left this land and we went into Africa. We went to the down south because there were earthquakes cracking off. It was nonstop earthquakes. So we left Mexico in this land, and we went to fight the Gullah Geechee wars and all that. They don't tell us that. But when we study Tehuacán and all of the Yucatan, there were earthquakes and volcanoes eruptions. So that's why the so-called Olmecs and Black Indians left and migrated down south as well. And then went into South America. We scattered also.
There was a lot of that going on, and a lot of the Mayans built underground tunnels for that reason. They built a lot of stuff underground.
It goes like this. As high as the pyramid goes, it goes. So all the pyramids, you guys, goes into the center of the earth. And that's what they're going to come up. Some of our warriors, they're coming up through these tunnels. That's why the government's trying to find the tunnels and blow up these cities where our ancestors are. That's why they told you the pyramid. You remember that pyramid city they just found with the city underneath the pyramids? Did you see that?
I seen it.
That's exactly what's happening. They're finding these cities. I'm telling you, it's about to crack off, y'all.
The ones that live under there live hundreds and hundreds of years. See, the time is different down there than it is up here. You know what I'm saying? Because we're going to court. We're basing it off of a mental clock of 1 year, one age. You know what I'm saying? And this is what ages us. Down there, they don't live off of that sense of time. So therefore, the time that they live is thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So when they come up here, they look really young. They're like, "Wow, how old are you? You been in the earth the whole time? No shit, Sherlock." So to us, it might seem like 400 years, but to them, it just only seems like 4 days or a day or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Because time is measured differently to them. They don't measure time how we measure it up here. It's a different dimension.
You're right. And then you guys, I just thought of in Tales from the Hood. You remember that scene with Crazy K where he went to that underground prison? And so you guys watching, if you guys seen Tales from the Hood, they took the gang banging blood from LA and they put them in an underground prison, and they had brothers in cages and they were rehabilitating them, torturing them, and all this stuff. And they had him next to a racist KKK member, and he was like, "Nigga, I love you." And he's like, "What'd you say to me, white boy? You a cracker?" And he punched the white boy, the racist, and he started bleeding, licking it. He said, "Nigga." He said, "You doing my job." He said, "You kill each other. You raise your kids without fathers. Da 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 da." And then they put him in that torture chamber, and they had him twisting and turning, and he still didn't care. So we're dealing with a group of our brothers and sisters who we cannot save, y'all. And that's why it's time to separate from your friends and family who still want to gang bang. Separate from your friends who still want to thug. Separate from your friends, or try to help those friends who have substance abuse. Reach out to them. Reach out, because I've been there with the alcohol at one time, you know. So reach, and I had a friend recently passed from alcoholism. So reach out to your friends, but eventually you're gonna have to let some people go. Like certain friends had to let me go, and I had to dig myself up out the tunnel, deservingly so, because I could understand why certain friends are like, "Man, Elm, I can't fuck with you when you're drunk, dog. You be tripping." And then it took someone to record me, and then looking back at certain episodes, I'd be like, "Man." So yeah, it's all about self-improvement, and I'm able to look back and say, "Man, I grew from that, and here we are, about to be Dr. Williams in a real way, and not a doctor like you see people on the internet saying that they're a doctor without going through the treacherous schools." I did both, y'all, not just the streets and common sense. I went through the so-called troglodyte, so-called pale-skinned European white man school as well. Doubled it up. I doubled it up. And once again, Trump science director manipulating time and space. Start paying attention to Mandela effects. Start paying
I got a
attention.
story to tell you.
Okay.
I remember the time going back. Okay, I was up years ago when I was living on the streets, homeless on the streets. I would stay at the bus stops, you know what I'm saying? Just to hang around, get on the bus, go to sleep, and go from location to location to, rest on the bus or whatever. So it was one night I was with my girlfriend at the time, and we were just hanging out. And she says, "Look, did you see the time jump? It went from 4 o'clock and it froze and it stopped. Like literally it stopped and then it jumped to another time period. Like literally. And it wasn't daylight saving time. It wasn't none of that. We seen the time clock change. So I knew then that they were messing with time, or at least trying to travel or trying to manipulate the atoms some kind of way. But they were fucking with some shit. So
Yeah, I agree. And it happens, and we'll think about it and go about our day. No, if you have those moments, keep digging on it. Don't let that moment go, because
what was
it's
the
there to
Mandela?
remind you. Huh?
Remember Shazam? I
Yeah, I
think that
remember.
Sinbad had two movies, Shazam, and he had the other movie with the genie. What was it
I
called?
remember Shaquille O'Neal and Shazam.
It was Shazam and
Sinbad.
Sinbad had another one.
I've heard.
Remember
I
the
think
Sin?
I heard people say something about that. And then the
That was the
Bernstein
Mandela
Bears.
effect.
I definitely remember Nelson Mandela dying a few times. That's why I
1983.
call it the Mandela effect.
Mm-hmm.
A few entertainers I felt I could name off. I can't think of, but I felt like, I'm like, damn, didn't they die already? So it happens a lot, and it's like, if you don't have anyone to be like, but people catch on and be like, yo, yeah, that celebrity already died. It's because everyone is so consumed with the media, work, and religion, they don't think for themselves.
They don't pay attention to it. They don't believe it. They just
Right,
announced that he died in 1983, and then now all of a sudden, why? Now they announced him dying in 1999, like
right.
or 2000. Man, I know what you're talking about. I know
And
what you're
then to
talking
close
about. I
it
gotta
out,
bring up that that Sinbad one, and I can show it to you, and it'll be like it'll be like, okay, I remember that. Some people don't remember it. Some people do.
And
You know.
same with when people get abducted. You can get abducted in your dreams too, or you can astral travel when you're outside of your body and go on your ship with your ancestors. They are different forms. Remember,
They were
how
light.
I look
Mine were
is
light.
different than how I really look. I might
Right.
look like a dinosaur in my real, you know? You
Yeah.
don't know how I really look.
Mm-hmm.
This is just an avatar suit, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mines look
there's,
like.
go ahead.
Mm-hmm. I seen the ones that I was with. They look like those guys. They were just light though. There was like light, just bright light on the ship.
Mm.
Literally, they were
And
beings of light.
look how tiny the shit was on Men in Black, y'all. So it goes to
Mm-hmm.
show that sometimes if you see something flying by you in your room and you
Mm-hmm.
see it's not a bug, homie, that might be a spaceship.
Might
That
be a
might be a
spaceship.
craft. You know,
Mm-hmm.
uh, you can see a lot of the beams on the side of your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But if
All the
you pay
time.
attention and move, it'll disappear. It's because
Or
you just lock in
on
and
camera.
notice.
Because they're coming from another dimension, so they're tuned into a different frequency.
Yeah,
The
I
thing is,
caught
that we
some. Go ahead. I
on
caught
your
a
camera,
UFO. Yeah,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I
All the
caught a
time, like.
UFO coming out of the waters on the cruise, and I
Mm-hmm.
got it on film. I saw the
Mm.
light bulbs, the orbs that we
Mm-hmm.
see right here. I saw them
Mm-hmm.
coming out of the ocean, bro. And I was
Wow.
like, this is here. I said, because the ocean is so vast, you can't track those things. And
Mm-hmm.
so they have us imprisoned on these lands, bro. The
Mm-hmm.
land is the prison, bro. These
Mm-hmm.
cities are prisons. So
Mm.
y'all, we're in prison right now. No matter
Mm.
what color you are, we're in
Mm-hmm.
freaking prison. And
Mm-hmm.
it's time to break free. So
Mm-hmm.
once again, watch the movie Flight of the Navigator if y'all haven't seen it, because you are the navigator, and a lot of us have been abducted. A lot of us are extraterrestrials. A lot of us have been abducted and brought back. And your
Mm-hmm.
friends and family will say, man, you're different. Yes, because you got dropped back off in a different time zone.
Mm-hmm.
You've been gone for thousands of
Or they.
years,
Mm-hmm. And they updated
different
your
years, or
program.
8 years. They might have
Mm.
taken you for a few months while fake you was just going, and now you're back,
Right.
jumped in your body when you went back to
Mm-hmm.
sleep, and now you're here again.
Mm-hmm.
That's why
They
they don't want
updated
you
me.
to remember your dreams,
Mm-hmm. That's right. And
because
that's why they put all the
go ahead.
fluoride in the water, and
Mm,
fluoride is in the toothpaste that goes to your brain because that calcifies your pineal gland. So when you're sleeping, you won't be able to remember your dreams. But when you do remember your dreams, you remember the journey. Like for me, I remember being abducted by the three beings of light. I remember it vividly, and they gave me information. They told me who the heck I was. They were saying you're a light. You're a chosen one. You're the chosen one. So I'm
mm-hmm,
chosen to give this information to people, to our people. And likewise, like you as well, you're another chosen one. You are chosen, updated. You're from the higher realms. We are star seeds for a reason. They could literally immaculate conceive you. They could pick a person, send that entity or that deity in that person while your mother's conceiving you, and then you'll be born. And then you
mm-hmm.
just know things that you just don't understand that you know. You just know it. Like I know what happened. Like and I know what's happening and what's getting ready to happen again. So we're at the point in our evolution, or we're at the point right now in time to where time is being repeated. It's going back to repeating it. It's going back to the old cycle naturally. You know what I'm saying? And it's an energy. You know, all the things are coming back to our memory. We've been reset and we were being upgraded. And the sun that's sending the rays from the sun right now, in this spring, this particular year right here, crazy portal is open. So
Mm.
I encourage everybody, melanated beings, to get out in the sun and update the software to your computer program. Get the downloads from the sun, because then you'll be able to see the other realm and the things that's actually going on. Yep,
And
beautiful.
I love you, brother. We're gonna
Love
do
you
this
too.
more often. I appreciate your knowledge, your wisdom, your overstanding, your understanding. Continue
Mm-hmm.
to be great, continue to be amazing. And we're going to continue to do this. And eventually we're going to be charging y'all for some of
Mm-hmm.
our lectures eventually. So,
Mm-hmm.
like you see people do their Patreon. Dr. Williams, baby, my brother
Mm-hmm.
Devin, we coming with high level information from the land of California, baby, Southern California,
Yes.
the Inland
SoCal.
Empire. You haven't heard
Mm-hmm.
anybody from Inland Empire talk like this. We are the first. Same with
Mm-hmm.
Southern California. I was the only brother in Southern California with a tour van with spaceships on it. You can ask
Mm-hmm.
anybody in Hollywood, all your famous rappers and actresses. Ask Ice Cube, Tatiana Ali, the
Mm-hmm.
Ray J's. Ask them, have you ever seen this, brother? Have you ever seen that tour van? Underground God, you know.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about these things in the music industry, we know about them. Brother Devin, he would be literally on the red carpet at some of Hollywood's hottest events. So
Yes.
we're not capping when we talk about our knowledge, when we talk about the
We know what we're
industry.
talking about. We know what's
And
going
then with
on.
Tory Lanez, brother get
Oh
well,
man. Now
brother
that with
get
the rock
well,
is
heal up.
crazy.
And that's why I was trying to teach y'all with the headsets. Last
Mm-hmm.
episode, I was telling y'all with my headsets, I gave Tory Lanez and Kanye West as an example. In my virtual reality world, the Matrix University on VR chat, what it's going to be, imagine Tory Lanez or Kanye West or Ye saying, I'm going to release my new album in Jason Elm Street's world. It's called the Matrix University. So imagine Tory Lanez saying he's going to release his NFT
Mm-hmm.
in my virtual reality world,
Wow.
and Kanye. So you have to find it. Let's say you have to find it in my video game, right? Like Ready Player One. And immediately when they drop the name of the VR, in 1 minute, 1 million people can go to my virtual reality world and download Tory Lanez or Kanye West's album without the record labels, and immediately let's say he says, all right, I'm gonna sell my album for $10, and since I want to help the homie Elm Street, I'm gonna split it half, so I get $5 every sale, and they
Mm-hmm.
keep the rest. That's $5 million
Mm-hmm.
automatically in one day. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what we're able to do with virtual reality. We're able to at least take control in the digital realm with wealth. Because, okay, they're about to do digital coin, Bitcoin. Let's create businesses where we're doing that so we can have our wealth, have
Mm-hmm.
our land, have our housing, have our technology, our businesses. And when we want to leave our land, we have the wealth and protection to go wherever we want. You know, some people
Mm-hmm.
do whatever they want to do, but wherever we go, we're going to bring wealth. We're going to create TV shows, movies,
Mm-hmm.
farms, amusement parks, different cities, smart cities, electrical cities. This is what we're doing in real time. So
Mm-hmm.
once again, that's why they tried to kill Tory Lanez, because it's still up for debate if Megan Thee Stallion is a
Mm-hmm.
man. Much
Mm-hmm.
love to all people. But that would be a story once again, that
Mm-hmm.
if that was a transvestite, that means you've been listening to that and that they've been grooming our brothers for that. Once again, like I say, that culture has always been a part of our culture. It's just that it's been in the closet. So for me, if it's not in the closet and brothers and sisters are themselves, that's fine. But when you have to not be yourselves to get a record deal, and you're doing things in the closet and then doing blood sacrifices, setting people up to go to jail and all that stuff, that's when it gets wicked. And
Mm-hmm.
so
Have
we
your
see,
friend do it, and you know, and your friend that shot the man and all that. You don't want to report her and want to lie and say that he was the one that did it. That wasn't cool, man.
that's
That wasn't
wrong.
cool. But the
And
natural
so,
laws of the natural laws of the universe is that everything that comes around goes around. It always recycles itself.
and
Everything
it took
comes
a
back to you.
Mexican. And a Mexican, now imagine if he would have died, would that have caused riots? You know, the
Yeah,
consequences of that.
I
That
think definitely it would have, but the situation with him, they wanted to label that dude because the dude was apparently like a pedophile. So they were like,
mm,
we're not gonna go off because he was a pedophile. So dude was like 19 or 20 messing around with like a 13-year-old girl. And I guess the girl For whatever reason, she stopped dealing with the dude, and the dude shot her and killed her and did some crazy stuff. Shot her and
Damn.
killed her or whatever. And then they wound up giving him life for that. So this was a dude right here that had nothing to lose.
Mm,
Ain't no telling what they probably offered him. You know what I'm
right.
saying? People know people in jail, reached out to him, say, hey man, I'll give you I send your mama or your auntie $25,000 if you do this to Tori. Okay. To pay her
Mm,
rent. You know what I'm saying? So ain't no telling what they did. And they tried to take him out, but they couldn't take him out because of who he's protected by, what's around him.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they're saying that his healing is supernatural that's going on right now with him. So you know who Tori is, man.
Yeah, and his name, isn't it like Star something? Is it Death Star or it's
Something of that nature. I gotta
yeah,
research the name, the meaning, because we know those meanings. That
yeah.
vibration that creates the destiny and who and what you are is in your name.
Yeah, and his father called out Jay-Z when he did that. I was like, man, and they're locking him up. I said that. I probably said on one of the I
Mm-hmm.
guarantee you I probably said it on one of the podcasts that I
Mm-hmm.
said it. They're locking him up, they're gonna kill him. And you're trying to gang bang. That's another thing, brother. It's like
Mm-mm.
you see these celebrities come here and start gang banging. It's like, bro,
Bro, you just destroying
only the
yourself.
families is dying over that. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what they're gonna do to our Mexican brothers and sisters. That
Mm.
if you go on Instagram, you see the gang banging rap with the Mexicans now, and
They're
I'm
gonna
like,
try to put it on the
yeah,
radio and make it mass popular, and
yeah,
it's gonna
they're
they just
going
gonna get
to.
them to kill each other.
Yeah, so that's what they're gonna do, and I just hope that they don't use it for the Mexican brothers to start killing us again. Because
Mm.
once again, we are the soul people. We're dealing with people who are here to gain a soul. So
Mm-hmm.
certain races don't mind killing like us. They try to paint us as savages, but nah. If we didn't have a soul, everyone who did bad things to us, every race, they'd be wiped off the planet.
Mm-hmm.
That we would already killed everybody. But we're not those people. We're a loving
Mm-hmm.
people, and
Right.
so I want to
By
send a message
nature.
by nature. So once again, we need that Mexican black and brown unification. We need
Mm-hmm.
it. So I just ask my real Mexican brothers who are in the underworld, stand up against the racist
Those who cleave to us and who
Yeah,
connect to us and connect with us, man, y'all need to rise up because I'm telling you, it's gonna determine your where you
mm,
about to be at in the new world.
it
Because
is, and that's the
we're gonna
trick. Y'all,
determine
go ahead. My
we
bad.
determining who's gonna be what, who's gonna be the maid servant, who's gonna be the ones. Because when the higher beings come back down and lay down the law along with us, y'all realize who we are and who we're connected to. Y'all gonna be like, man, I wish I would have did these guys better. Because they already recorded everything. They already know
Recorded.
that your
Yeah.
ancestors of the Spaniards stole our lands. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, you got to just understand that it's all been a lie. And if you know that the whole history's been a lie, just accept it. You could go into the new world with a whole different mind state. Yeah, okay, yeah, they're the Indians. Okay. They're the Mayans. They're the Aztecs. Yes. Okay. They're the gods and the goddesses. They're the chosen ones. Yes, it is them. Just acknowledge it and just take it for what it's worth. And y'all be cool with it and just let us be. Now it explains and it makes sense. It's like, okay, it makes sense why they dominate every sport. Why they dominate
Bow
boxing.
down to a
Why
God
they
that's
boxing.
greater than you. Bow
Okay,
down.
right.
Our time.
It's just it is
Bow
what it is.
down.
It's not that
Bruh.
it is what it is. It's just the way that we
It's the
were
way it
created to
has to
be the
be.
fathers of the earth. We are
Yeah.
the fathers. We're the ones that's supposed to take care of the earth. It was given to us to take care of it. You know what I'm saying? And it got out of control when the people that came into power. You know what I'm saying? The earth was mourning. You know what I'm saying? The mother earth, mother spirit was mourning, was crying like, oh my God. Now that everything's being reset, nature's turning against them because it wants to
Mhm.
return it back to order again. If I don't know if you guys paid attention, if you looked at what happened when the world shut down in 2020 and you look at Los Angeles and you look at the smog level, how clear the skies were, it was clear. Just
Mm,
in that amount of time, the earth began to heal.
mm.
So what happens when those that's running this shit gets out of power? And it sucks to say, but there's a lot of food shortages that's on the way, man.
because a lot of the things that are not even coming into the America right now. You know what I'm saying? They shut down the trades, so it's gonna be a lot of things that you're gonna be going to these stores. You're gonna be noticing like, damn, ain't shit in these fucking stores. And that's
Wow.
part of the Great Reset, because everything's being reset. In order for things to rise up, other things must fall and be destroyed. So you are in the destruction of America, but you're also in the rise of the Moors. You know what I'm saying? You're in the rise of our empire, which this is going to be the new university for the future. This is the new Egypt. I mean, this is Egypt anyway, because this is what it is. It's been that. But I'm saying that this university, the Matrix University, is going to be the university that everybody comes to learn. You know what I'm saying? Things that the Pope and the Vatican was hiding from us, just give it back to us, man. It's no need to hide it no more. You already know the end date already hit in 2025. That was the end of you guys' run anyway. Just give it back to us.
And we taking it back, and you know the motherships are coming, and that's what they fear, y'all. The great balls of fire coming down.
Great fall of Babylon.
You know, and that's what they fear. Our extraterrestrials ancestors coming to kick they behind for doing us wrong. So have no fear. The navigators, the chosen ones, the teachers are here. And so we're gonna end it with one of my singles, y'all. Since we're talking about love, this song is called "Let's Make Love" off of the Matrix University album. This is my brother Devin, the chosen one.
Hey.
I'm Jason Elm Street Williams. Quetzalcoatl return.
We back.
And this is What is the Matrix TV. And also check us out at www.thematrixuniversity.com, where you can find 3 of my children's books: Jason Wins the Game, Jason Visits the Museum, and Jason in the Lost Pyramid.
Hey.
Oh, that was enough.
Needs a beast, don't forget the money, man.
All right, brother. We'll play this before we fade it out. This is a love song. Mouthpiece to love. Let's get it.
Represented, I'm the hardest in it. Fuck the critics, ain't nobody hard as gritty. Black and brown come together, we ain't backing down. I've been in the Hardy City, got the bloodline of a king. Gotta come together, we all in the same game. One God, one universe, all unity, and ain't shit changed. Gotta mount up, but they dumb us down with that fake shit that they teach us now. We been living in the belly of the devil, battling so we can make it out. Fuck the politics and the president, fuck the White House till they let us in. We gon' go to war, we ain't hesitant. If they want to smoke, then I'm a hella shit. We the last living of a dying breed. Ain't nobody with the pen as hard as me. Every time I rap it hit an artery. Ain't nobody fucking with my artistry. We the holy guys, we invented time. We gon' send a missile like it's Lebanon. I been eating rappers like it's dinner time. Suckers hibernating like it's dinner time.
We got the best smoke on the West